You are now tuned into Somewhere in the Middle with Soonie and Mo.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Hey, Don on the beat.
I got so many ops.
Everywhere I go, I
got so many ops.
so many ops.
I know they plotting against me. I know it's hate, they wanna kill me, but please don't tempt me, cause I got so many glocks. Hey, ain't none of them empty. Jesus said they would hate me too. That's how I know it's in me. I got so many ops.
Hey guys,
Whew, I was coughing my lungs up.
welcome to Friday. I know I was doing the same thing, and I had like popped a lozenge. What up, Elizabeth? What up, Joey? Only 3 people in here, but we should have a little bit more tonight. I just saw that my YouTube channel's out of jail, so that's a good thing because I was in the YouTube slammer for 2 weeks for an old video. So hopefully we'll have some more people in here tonight. We got a lot out of nowhere. The news cycle picked up, thank God, because it was a little dead. So we're going to be talking about Mind to Mo. That's one thing, because you guys have been asking about that. So I got some Mind to Mo. I racked my brain and we got some Mind to Mo. Hey, Christine. Hey, Holly. We're going to be talking about the 3, Christina. I think it's just, sorry, Christina. We're going to talk about 3 Supreme Court rulings that came down today, or was there was the school loan, affirmative action, and then the thing that businesses.
We can say no to the flaggets.
We can say no, basically. And we're not going to be like putting the slammer for it. So there was 3 wins, which I was like, oh, this is a good end to Pride Month, because we're also at the end of Pride Month.
I don't recognize Pride Month.
I'm just saying, it's
Real
the end.
Christ, dang, I don't recognize no Pride Month.
It's the end of Pride Month finally, like the longest month on the planet. Hopefully no more rainbows everywhere I look, but you never know.
That's just never going away.
Yeah. So they gave us a little reprieve in the Supreme Court. Then we're going to talk about, oh my God, my ear. We're going to talk about some entertainment news that's going on, some stuff with Roseanne Barr that I thought was interesting. Soonie and I are having a little debate in regards to some of the cases that we've been talking about. If whether someone's prior criminal record should matter. It always gets brought up, but does it matter? So we've been debating it offline. I think we've debated it a little bit on the show, but
I mean, y'all can go ahead and put it in the chat.
We
Does
can
it
what?
matter, yes or no? Does it matter?
Yeah,
yes
yeah. Put in the chat. Put in the chat right now. If you think, before we go into this topic, do you think at any time does a person's criminal record matter to a case, to a situation? Does it matter? Put it in the chat. Yes, it matters. No, it doesn't matter. Simple as that. In the meantime, I think was there any other topics I left out?
No.
Okay, good. In the meantime, go ahead and hit that like button, share button, tell all your friends, all your family that we're live, and we're going to get started pretty soon. Soonie's got good. Oh, do you want to share the news about your husband? I didn't know if you wanted to share.
What are you talking about?
The news about your husband, his promotion?
Oh, yeah, my husband tested for tech, and he got promoted.
So
we got sauced last night.
I meant to ask you, what is tech?
It's a step down from master. It's the last enlisted rank before you get to commissioned officer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what the ranks are in the Army, so I wasn't familiar with it, but that's cool. Very congratulations to him.
It's not the Army. Get it right. We're not the armpit.
Air Force. My bad. You guys
say it loud.
You guys are the smart ones, the Air Force.
Exactly.
Not so muscular, but very smart.
do I need to pull my husband in here and like showcase?
I'm not. It's not. What is it? You're being. What's the word? What's the word you always say to me?
I'm not gonna tell you.
You're being. The fuck is the word? Not situational.
I don't know.
Anecdotal. Well, I'm not talking about your husband. I'm talking as a whole. As a whole, the Air Force is known as the smart ones.
Can someone teach Lopez how to fucking spell sergeant? Please. That's not how you spell sergeant. That's closer to Sargento cheese, sir. That is not how you spell sergeant. Lopez, you've been speaking a lot of Ebonics. Here we go with the Mister again.
It's because
It's Mister.
you know where Lopez hangs out.
He blamed the sisterhood for why he speaks Ebonics. He said this is what they call me, so I've accepted it. I said, oh Lord, now you coming in here spelling sergeant wrong. I don't know about you.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear that? Sorry if you heard that. I have a lot of beasts in my house right now. I'm speaking Ebonics. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Hey, I saw that you had a little debate with Mitch last night about affirmative. Well, not a debate, but you had him on your live about affirmative action. What did he have to say about it? I saw the clip that you sent me, but I didn't watch the live.
Mitch is probably the one of the most dishonest people I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the clip.
Yeah, the clip that I saw was where he was saying that, let's be honest, Black folks are discriminated against based on by their zip code and something else and their last name.
I'm just like, all right, so we're never going to get rid of any of this. We're never going to get rid of any of it. So it just is what it is.
Well, you know what's funny about that?
Zip code racism is right.
What's funny about that is Mitch lives in a very nice zip code. And I don't know about you, but if I was a hiring manager and I saw the word Mitch on a application, I wouldn't think Black man. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't occur to me.
I don't know. We'll get into the discussions, but I think this is a moment for conservatives to relish, celebrate, and exploit. That's all I've been doing. All of my videos have been actually very funny lately. I decided to change my voice.
Yeah.
And like go real black on the videos, and it sounds funny with my voice all crazy.
Show the one that I thought was hilarious. If you have it, if you can get it quickly.
Sure.
Is that the one? What was that? What was the topic of that one? Was it? Because you did a few in that voice with the voice.
It was RFK.
RFK, that's what it was. Okay, he was talking about the affirmative action, right? It was like his tweet about the affirmative action. Yeah.
I said, conservatives.
Yeah. That voice was pretty funny. So you can play that as the opener to our discussion. We'll start with affirmative action first.
Want to start with affirmative action?
Yeah, we'll start with affirmative action.
Affirmative action has been everyone's favorite topic. I've never seen so many conservatives be ready to just ditch affirmative action. This is what I mean. When I say, hey, let's get rid of affirmative action, people are like, no, that's going too far. But now you're celebrating universities doing it. Like, why is it not so extreme now? Let me shut up. I already know I'm ahead of the game. I don't know why I'm asking.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, we'll talk about it.
Conservatives. I think you might want to think about this one. I'm just saying. He seems to be echoing what everybody else is echoing. Black people ain't smart enough to function on a merit-based system.
The sneaky.
Words out loud, y'all.
That little sneaky, the sneaky do 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 do. I love that little sound effect. It's so funny. Well, I kind of wanted to talk about some of the tweets that we saw in respects to the people that were tweeting about the affirmative action thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull some up from our chat while we're up here. So we had this one. Oh, why is it so giant? Okay, so this was from Nancy Pelosi. She said, every child deserves a chance to chase their American dream. Yet sadly today, Supreme Court ruling narrows access to higher education and crucial ladder of opportunity that it provides. Its impact will be felt immensely, diminishing hard-fought progress for racial justice. Then
What are they talking
this
about?
was probably the most like what the one that I saw the most people sharing was this chick Erica Marsh, and she like worked for Obama. She works in Washington, is my understanding about this chick. She said, "Allow me to clarify this tweet." Oh wait, no. That was the apology. Okay. Today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on Black people. No Black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty. Then she starts taking a lot of heat for that tweet. And she says, "Allow me to clarify this tweet, which is being manipulated for propaganda and misinformation by the ultra MAGA." The intention of my tweet is to highlight that prior to affirmative action, there exists a supposedly merit-based system for Black individuals to gain admission to colleges. However, these institutions employed racial profiling to prevent Black individuals from attending under the guise of this merit system. I want to emphasize that my statement in no way suggests that Black individuals are less intelligent than people of other races. So,
Bitch,
yeah.
that is not what the fuck you said. You said that we would not be able to succeed in a merit-based system.
That's
Is
exactly
it.
what she said.
That's what the fuck you said.
That's exactly what she said.
Listen, I'm just going to come out and call all these people racist. I'm going to do what they do. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Dude, I was so petty yesterday. I went around screaming in Okinawa. Did you know niggas was stupid? I was doing this. I wish I would have recorded. I said, did you know niggas was so dumb that we couldn't get into school? Did you know that?
Oh my gosh.
I put on this song called what is that song? Lovely day when I wake up in the
Were
morning.
you making a video, or you just were running around for no reason?
I was live. And I stepped outside like, did you know
Oh.
niggas were so dumb we couldn't get into school? Like, bro, it is a lovely day. It's a
You
lovely
know,
day.
this is the thing. As I don't think I benefited from affirmative action when I applied, because I don't remember filling anything out. I mean, of course, like when you apply, you have to like write some statement, when you apply to a university or whatever. And I guess you could imply in there what your race is, which you still can, by the way. If you really want people to know what your race is, when you do your statement of admission, when you're going into the admission process, put it in there if you want them to know. But I have never really understood the importance of them having to know your race when admitting you to a college, because previously it was based off of your grades and your testing, and now they're kind of looking less at testing, and they're looking at other things. So I don't know. I don't really know. But as a Latina woman, these tweets were funny to me in the sense that, why do they act like affirmative action was just for Black people? It benefited other races too. Asians, Hispanics.
Because it's only been marketed that way.
Yeah, it's
So
only
that's why.
yeah. It was
That's why.
It was interesting because it said Harvard applicants in the top academic decile have different chances of admission depending on their race. So Asians had a 12.7% chance, whites had a 15.3% chance, Hispanics 31.3, and Blacks 56.1. That was the Harvard merit-based system, affirmative action system.
Well, like I said the other day, this is an opportunity to show and prove. Now, I would prefer people just straight go to HBCUs now. Go to HBCUs, go make those schools pop, go bring the funding there, go bring the sports there. We have the athletes. You are choosing to go to these, I think they call them PWIs. And I got some pushback when it came to that. There was a guy named Dope Panic who came on that discussion that you had saw me having with Mitch. And he said that we should not be advocating for Blacks to make this mass exodus to go to HBCUs, because it could send a certain type of message, which could trigger desegregation. It was almost as if he feared desegregation. And the way he was talking about the Black institutions, whereas as if they carry no weight, like there's no real merit if you go to these schools. You have to go to this school in order to function in society because of the system. And I'm just like, are you afraid to exist without white people?
Right.
I don't think Black people think they can do it on their own. Matter of fact, there's no thinking about it. This instance just exposed that they do not feel comfortable doing it by themselves. When you have to have your race considered instead of just your worth, your work, maybe you're not measuring up somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what I keep going back to. And this is going to show how bad the schools are, because these kids are going to be trying to get into these schools and it's merit based, and we're going to see how dumb these young people are coming out of school. Oregon, they're not required to have any sort of literacy, or what do they call it? There's no testing in math. There's no comprehension. Why the fuck would you take that out when kids are graduating? Like, they have to meet a certain criteria. So
yeah,
I'm happy that this is happening. I really am.
I mean, I honestly, I think it makes things that much more equal because it's merit based. I mean, it should have always been merit based. I do want to highlight though that not every Black person was against this, you know, being ruled away. Basically, a lot of Black people were happy because these were obviously Black people that got into where they are in life, whatever school they got into, whatever career they have, they earned it. They earned and they worked their way to it. And I saw a lot of great tweets from, you know, a lot of famous Black people, just anybody who had a platform that thought, you know what, I don't really care. Like, this doesn't affect me because I got to where I got to because I deserve to be there.
Yeah.
This was crazy. When she posted this, I was like, I sent it to you. I was like, they need to take her phone away because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, in my opinion, like my belief, this is what I believe. This, with the Supreme Court ruling, showed how many racist Democrats actually exist. And I'm using the word racist in its correct context because they do think they're superior to Black people in so many ways. When you tell someone you cannot make it on a merit, you're telling them a lot without saying a lot. It's called an inference. I'm teaching my kids this for summer school. They're inferring something. It can also be labeled as an idiom. You can't possibly survive in a merit-based system. No.
Right.
No. Like, you won't even consider the fact that we're absolutely smart enough to compete at the same level as you. This just showed how many racist people we have in this country. And that doesn't mean that white supremacy reigns and all that. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm strictly talking about a mindset. There's like mad racist people in this country, bro.
I mean, yeah, there's always going to be, but I think what upsets me more is like when stuff like this comes up and I post about it, or, you know, when we were posting about AJ Owens or any other case or whatever, I have these people that come into my comment box that are so dead set on the fact that there is this like terrible treatment of Black people across the board all the time. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Like, if somebody tweeted something like, I'll give an example. The guy on the train, Daniel Penny, right? That chokeholded the other dude that was Black. Somebody said to me, that guy was racist. And I said, well, what proof do you have? Well, he had all these tweets that were racist. And I'm like, what were the tweets? And it was like stuff that I personally would consider ignorant statements, but weren't necessarily racist. Like, they didn't imply hate towards Black people, but they could definitely be viewed as an ignorant statement, right? So I said, so just because he put that, that means he wanted to kill a Black man for sure. He was out to kill a Black man. And he was like, yeah, he was racist. That's what it is. And when I hear those things, it like, it like doesn't sink into me how people can think like that. I get that racism exists. I get that there are inequalities. Hello, we all are victims of inequalities. I say this all the time. I didn't get the ankles I wanted to get in life. I didn't get the kneecaps I wanted to get in life. So the fuck what? I get the fuck over it. But people bitch and complain about everything. If you have the freaking grades to get into these schools, then get in it. That's it. Or learn to play, learn to play a sport really well so you can get in on athletics. I don't know what to tell you. People just bitch too much. Like, stop complaining. Stop it.
This is not anything to complain about. I'm happy it happened. I'm happy. Since I believe in being correct with wording, right? Race is having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superior.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at these tweets and we're saying what people are saying, wouldn't we label that as an actual real example of people being racist in America?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I say this is a slam freaking dunk.
Yeah.
For so many people. Call it what it is and move on.
Yeah.
I'm not debating nobody on this, bro. I am laughing. Yeah. They said that we're too dumb to get there on merit. I don't need to say nothing else. Oh, they didn't? I'm gonna pull up all these tweets. You explain to me what these tweets mean. Mm-hmm. That's what people should start doing. People on the right. When you get into interviews and discussions with these left-leaning influencers or whatever they're doing, debating, go ahead and pull up this tweet and be like, tell me what you think about this.
Right.
Just make them answer for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you disagree with this? Why do you think we can't get there on merit? And then they run to what Mitch did. Well, they could be racist based on your zip code. Mm-hmm. A white person can live there. So how can they make this make sense? So at that point, then it's no longer black people being discriminated against. Then it becomes the entire nation. Yeah. Blacks, whites, Mexicans, Asians, dude, some people live in the hood. It ain't just niggas there. And that's another, they're implying even more that if you live in this area code, then there's probably only black people there. What the fuck?
I mean, I used to be a hiring manager. You know how long it would take to go through applications and look up people's zip codes and find, you know what I mean? Like that would be insane. Like I live in a zip code where some part of it is a nice area, some part of it isn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is the most ignorant statement I've ever heard in my life. Like I'll meet you halfway if you think somebody's racist and they see you come in the door and you're black and they treat you a certain type of way. Maybe they have a feeling about black people that I can get behind. But your zip code and your last name? Are there black last names now?
You know what? I'm going to be real with you. I think so. Because look, anybody that's a Jones that I know, they're black. Anybody that's a Johnson that I know, they're black.
But what if I marry a Jones and I'm not black?
Then your husband definitely has to be black. I would never think he was white.
Okay,
never.
Well, my name is Monique, and that is predominantly sometimes a black woman's name. I ain't black. They be missing out. They be missing out on this cute girl. What the heck?
Hey.
They'd be like, oh,
the zip codes is racist, y'all. We can't get around it. Names and zip codes is racist. They can discriminate on every front. So why the fuck do we have these laws? Well, because it's minimizing it. How is it minimizing it if you are complaining as if it's happening at a massive level? Like, make some sense.
I wish I could show you the clip from The View, but I really don't want to get our channel dinged. But if you guys got to go pull, I sent it to you, Soonie. I'm sure you took a peek at it, but The View, the women on The View are complete idiots. And what they had to say about this situation was crazy. Okay. Like I can't stand Soonie. I can't stand her.
I want to fight her.
She will make
rearrange
anything
her
about
face,
race.
Bro.
Yeah. She makes anything and everything about race.
I would rearrange her motherfucking face.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Supreme Court on this. They got it right. We should definitely have a merit-based system. There's no reason to be considering race in any of these things because then people really do get left out.
Mhm.
Like we already know, Asians have the worst form of discrimination when it comes to these universities, and whites. So since it's happening to these two groups, and one group just so happens to be a minority, I think we should pay attention to that and say, you know what, this is not working. Let's just get rid of it. This is a celebration. Black people, stop being afraid to get out there and stand on your work, your merit. If it's there, it's there. If it ain't, it ain't. You can go fix it. If it ain't there, you can go fix it.
But be honest with yourself. If you apply somewhere, you didn't get in or you didn't get the job, is it because you black or is it because you just didn't deserve the job or there was a better qualification? Just be honest with yourself. It's not always racist. It's not always. I'm not saying it isn't. It's just not always.
It's not always racist. No, I think it's very rarely, and I'll be honest, I do think very rarely is it a situation of racism. I think
so too.
Most complaints that we have in America is just simple prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a significant. I think here I'll be honest. Probably 80% of this country is definitely prejudice. It's rare if you meet a person who doesn't have all those prejudices.
But I'm in that percentage. I'm prejudiced. Yes. I am prejudiced. I'm going to admit it. We all have it. We all say stuff, right? And if you say you're not, you're lying.
Listen,
okay.
We all know where my prejudice is. I believe immigration should be fucking illegal, but that's another show.
Yeah.
It's another show.
Before you move on to this, because this is on the topic of race, whoever the people are that made Idris Elba just want to give up on playing James Bond because he was sick and tired of the race talk, I'm coming for you. Okay? Because you're the same people that were bitching about the Little Mermaid being black. I'm coming for you. Do you understand that I wanted Idris to be the next James Bond?
Yeah, he would have been a cool James Bond.
He would have been an amazing, I mean, aside from the fact that I think he's gorgeous, he would have been an amazing James Bond. And y'all ruined it. So y'all better tweet him and tell him, please play James Bond. I need it.
Hey, this is what happens when you start complaining about the race of people in movies. They're like, man, fuck it.
Y'all ruined it.
Forget it. I'm not even gonna. They didn't ruin it for you.
They did.
He has the choice to still do it. The fact that he doesn't do it, doesn't that kind of make him a whole coward?
No, I don't blame him. He probably just doesn't want to deal with it. He's a pretty private person. What? Why do I get that? Because I put lip gloss on during the thing. No, I think
no. He's just a private. It's a movie.
No, but he's a private person, and I think he probably doesn't want all this publicity about his race being an issue. It's dumb. Okay, but do you think it's because people are racist, or you think it's because people are prejudiced and they prefer a white James Bond?
I think it's because people are bratty and they view any change now as it's woke, especially if it's tied to race.
True.
I don't think that people are like, I think people are prejudiced, but I don't think it has much to do with race. Honestly, when it comes to these characters, I think it's more so they're afraid of the propaganda, the woke information that comes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets lost in translation because all anybody can focus on is, why do you care that they're black? Like, who cares that they're black? Yeah, but it's just the woke message behind it.
Yeah.
And it also gets lost in translation when they say you're blackwashing things. So it could look prejudice on the surface, but when you really get to what people are talking about, I really think they just fear everything being woke.
God. But come on.
And I think that's a dumb fear. I think that's a stupid fear.
It's Idris. Blackwash me with Idris. Come on now.
Next on the docket. I don't even want to hear your thoughts or what you got going on right now. The Supreme Court has ruled that businesses can discriminate against LGBTQ Americans. Now, I purposely picked that because whoever this spiritual world is, page, they clearly feel some type of way about the Supreme Court allowing people to say no. Now, I'm not opposed to discrimination. I think discrimination should indeed be legal. I think you should be able to say no to whoever you want to say no to.
Right.
I don't understand why we're forced to intermingle and do things with people that we're not interested in doing business with. America's how big is America?
Huge.
So you can't go to another business? You have to come to mine?
Right.
Come on.
Especially, you know, in the two cases, which this one was, I think this lady in Colorado, she was a web designer who was opposed to creating a website for a same-sex marriage, whatever, right? She challenged the state's public accommodation law, claiming that by requiring her to serve everyone equally, the state was unconstitutionally enlisting her in creating a message she opposes. And then before her case, there was that guy that refused to make a cake for that gay wedding. And it's like, how many bakers are there? Like, you couldn't, a cake is made with flour and water. Make your own freaking gay cake. Like, you know what I mean?
Like,
yeah.
It's just.
This one actually surprised me because I was like, this went to the Supreme Court? That's wild.
It did, because they used civil rights. They used their civil rights being violated.
Civil rights again.
Exactly. Why can't my rights are being violated? And then I understand why it went there. I'm glad it went there, because then you get to strike it down from the highest level. Like, you can't force people to serve you.
Right.
You can't. If I don't feel, I think I would be bothered, right? Like, okay, you don't want to serve me. And it's because I'm black, because I would never turn a white person away. Just I wouldn't. Now, for a job, sure. If I want a certain look at my place of business and I just want to hire all blacks, sure. But I just don't get what's wrong with discriminating. I don't get it. I would feel some type of way, like, why? But I would go somewhere else. And I wouldn't get online and be like, don't go here because they don't want black folks around. I wouldn't even do that.
Right.
I don't know.
When I heard this lady talk, this specific lady in Colorado, I didn't understand these messages, by the way.
I don't either. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
He said, please answer in the chat. Anyways, she specifically said, I actually don't care what their sexual preference was. It was pertaining specifically to what they wanted her to create for this web page, that she said, my faith doesn't allow me. Like it's against my faith and my beliefs. So, you know, she respectfully declined. There should be nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There should be nothing wrong with that. If you're like, you know, if you make merch and somebody wanted you to make a merch shirt that said some ridiculous something on it, you know, something that's not in line with your beliefs, you have every right
to say no.
Exactly. No shoes,
no, I'm not gonna make that for
no
you.
Service, right? Isn't that the same thing?
That's discrimination. You're discriminating against the people who don't feel comfortable wearing shirts
or can't afford one.
What about the people who can't afford shoes?
Right.
And shirts and pants. What about clothes altogether? Discrimination.
Right.
I'm really not joking. I don't want to ban you, but I can't tell if you are a troll or you are really asking a legitimate question.
I don't understand what you want us to answer in the chat, Brian.
I don't see why it matters. It's the flag. They're LGBTQ, and they got put in their place today, and praise the Lord, because they need to understand that they don't get to just violate every right we have. And I'm specifically talking to people who have faith-based religions. I don't care what it is. Everyone's doing their own thing. But when you have Muslims and Christians coming together to fight against this, I think that's saying something. And it's about time that they leave the majority alone. It's like 1,000 gnats bothering the rest of the population, and we can't get rid of them. They're just here. And if we kill them, we're killing an endangered species. Like, we can't do nothing. We just have to exist with them.
Right. I don't understand this guy. So he says he has no audio, but he's like, don't act dumb. What are you talking about? I thought you had no audio. I have no idea. Okay, I'm going to say state your question clearly, or we will put your comments in timeout.
In timeout. The Supreme Court also ruled against the student loan debt. I am happy to see this.
Biden's whole campaign. Squashed.
Biden's entire campaign is donezo. Democrats are donezo. They're done. You got the discrimination against the LGBTQ. You got student loans. That's done. Now he does have a rollout to try to counter what the Supreme Court ruled, and I'll get into that.
Mhm.
But all the things that they like to argue, it seems to be failing. Race, sexuality, y'all taking massive L's in these categories.
Well, they blamed the MAGA Republicans on all of this. So Biden said that it was our fault.
I'm not even a MAGA Republican. Shit.
Do you remember the clip of Nancy Pelosi saying in a press conference once, she said, the president doesn't have the authority to forgive student loan forgiveness. He can delay it. He can delay it. He can, give you more time or whatever, but he cannot forgive it. That is an act of Congress.
Yep. You can keep talking. I'm going to pull that up.
It was crazy. Oh, you're going to pull up the clip?
Yep.
Anyway, so it said the court sided with 6 consecutive leading states, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and South Carolina, that objected to Biden's student loan forgiveness. Its ruling dealt a blow to 26 million borrowers. So they actually had created a website where people could go in and already start applying for the student loan forgiveness. So yes. I know people jumped all over that when it happened, like so much so that it crashed the site because so many people were applying. And now those people are going to have to, unfortunately, pay back their student loan. Now, they did say they're going to be deferring any payments for 12 months. So you have a year to get your, stuff in order so that you can start making your payments. But I mean, come on, people. When you went to school, when you took out the loan, you knew you had to pay it back. That's just how it works. I had a student loan. I had to pay it off. Do you know how mad I was going to be if this became reality and I had to pay my student loans off in full? I wasn't going to get a refund. I didn't even like what I went to school for.
Bruh.
So, yeah.
Bruh.
But Biden says he will pursue another path. He says he's going to be taking steps under a law called the Higher Education Act. So when you start hearing the Higher Education Act, that's going to be replacing student loan debt forgiveness. He says, I'm never going to stop fighting for you. We will use every tool at our disposal to get your student debt relief you need. That is code for, that's what I'm going to be running on. And I'm going to string you along using the Higher Education Act.
Yep, because we need another piece of legislation to help absolutely nothing.
Right.
This debt will continue. Do you really think government agencies are just going to say, yeah, you don't have to pay us back? We're talking about Sally Mae, bro.
Right. Yeah,
Who is
Sally.
Biden talking about? Biden, you're not forgiving shit.
Sally don't play. Okay.
Nancy told you. Hold on, I got it right here. I'm sorry.
So Brian's question was, should we change LGBTQ to ANH, which he said would stand for anything non-heterosexual? No, I agree. Like, why would we change it? Because that's just going to confuse people. It's LGBTQ. That's what they named it. It's not for us to change. We don't even really think it's a legit thing to begin with. So you can't change something you just want to do away with altogether. I hope that answered your question, Brian.
Yeah.
And the president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. That not everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive. The president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. That not everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
What? but the
Wah,
president
wah,
is trying
wah.
to forgive. But Nancy said you can't. So why are you trying, Joe?
You
Why
guys,
are you trying, Joe?
the one time Nancy actually said something truthful. Let's give it up for Nance.
I hate her fucking fingers. They
Mm.
irritate me.
I wonder what she's
Man.
doing these days. You know, I was in her neighborhood when I was in San Fran. I was in her neighborhood. I meant to Google her address to figure it out, but
Is it wishing death on someone when you ask the Lord, when are you coming for them? Is that wishing death on people?
when are you coming for them?
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I would just say, when are you coming? Because I say all the time, Lord, you any day now. That's what I say sometimes. There's a lot of people that he needs to come for. Okay, not just.
When is it
Unfortunately,
wishing death though?
I don't know, because I might be one of them. You might be wishing for him to come get me, because sometimes
I've never wished for God to come get you.
I didn't say you wish, but I'm saying he may have to come scoop me up.
Oh my goodness. If he comes scoops you, I would be sad.
You'd be sad. Why?
Because you're dead. What the fuck? What type of question is that? Why would you be sad? I'm so done with you. Did you hear what she just asked me?
Don't be done with me yet. We have a lot to talk about.
Next subject.
Don't be using up your I'm done with you tokens, okay?
It's unlimited.
Oh, it's unlimited.
I'm definitely unlimited.
Next subject. Okay, so let me talk about Roseanne Barr a little bit. I know Soonie doesn't care about Roseanne Barr. Oh my God. Sorry. There was a dog fight. Okay. Did you hear that?
Hey!
Did that sound crazy?
Yeah, I thought somebody was breaking in. I'm like, damn, it's about to go down over there.
I'm dead. Okay. So first I'm going to read to you a little bit of this article from Variety, and then I'm going to show you the actual videos. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a theory about what she's doing, and I want to know if you agree. You'll be able to chime in with what I'm giving you here. So YouTube pulls Roseanne Barr's podcast episode for hate speech violation after she denies the Holocaust. Okay. So YouTube removed a video. It was a comedy podcast, by the way, in which Roseanne Barr, attempting to make a sarcastic point about internet platforms enforcing disinformation policies, made extremely offensive comments about the Holocaust. YouTube determined that the video with her shared on the comedian's channel, Theo Vaughn, violated its policies prohibiting hate speech. That's actually why my channel was gone for 2 weeks. So she said on a June 14th episode, Barr discussed how online platforms like YouTube have deplatformed people who spread lies. As an example, Barr said, the real truth was that President Biden won the 2020 election. And she said she was glad such policies were in place to remove content posted by election deniers. So she was kind of sarcastically saying, she said, there's such a thing as truth and facts, and we have to stick to them. Then she continued in bewildering attempt to make a joke, and nobody died in the Holocaust, she said. Either that really probably didn't. Like, that probably put the top on it.
That's what did it.
Yeah.
Tell the truth, shame the devil. That's what did it.
She said it should happen, though. It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now. That's what she said. Because they cause all the problems in the world. But it never happened. Yeah.
Roseanne Barr is woke.
Yeah. Well, you know what? She's been. I think she's been for a while.
Woke,
but
Roseanne.
They've written her off as crazy. You know what I mean?
Woke, Roseanne.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to my YouTubes.
You know,
Sorry, we have to go through all my stuff.
Do you have to stay?
Wait a minute, because I need to be.
All right.
You know what I think? Discuss amongst yourselves. If you don't agree, you don't really have to burn me at the stake for not agreeing with me. But let me just throw out one idea, and I hope that the hungry dogs in the street have enough meat as not to come after me for thinking and speaking.
Love this, Soonie.
I'm tired of it. But I have this to say as follows. And it's okay I say it because nobody lives the fucking thing I say, which is great. I'm tired of being monitored, and corrected and shit. Fuck it. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
Let's go, Roseanne.
Trump, hear me when I say this. Trump is, in my opinion, the first woman president of the United States.
Here's what she said. Do I have the other video? Yeah, here it is. Okay.
That
The
there was
election was
election.
rigged or-
Yeah,
right.
that's all a lie. The election was not rigged. 36 counties can give you 81 million votes.
Right.
That's a fact.
So it wasn't rigged.
Of course not.
Yeah.
36 counties have 81 million people in them. See? That's the truth. And
Yeah.
don't you dare say anything against it, or you'll be off YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other ones, because we have, there's such a thing as the truth and facts, and we have to stick to it. And,
It's scary.
and that is the truth. And nobody died in the Holocaust either.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now because they cause all the problems in the world, but it never happened.
This guy's
It
like,
never
damn.
happened.
Yeah.
Mandated.
Look at him like, damn, I'm regretting this
You're
episode.
part Jewish, right? Part of your family's Jewish?
I'm
He's
all
trying to
Jewish.
change
You're
the
all
subject.
Jewish.
100%.
And a lot.
That
The
there was
election was
election.
rigged or-
Yeah,
right.
that's
Sorry. Anyways, that guy was probably sweating bullets. He's
was
like,
shitting
my
his
whole
pants.
platform is gone. He was like, so wait, you're Jewish, right? Like he was trying to recover it. Anyways, my point to bringing this up is this, okay? And I posted this on my story. If you guys want to know the secret, okay, what she was doing was clearly trolling, and she was trying to make her point that you are censored for the things that you say, right?
Yeah.
But another lesson from what Roseanne's doing is if you are trying to go viral, if you're trying to get attention and likes and clicks, this is how you do it. Okay? You say crazy stuff. People lose their mind. They share the post. They comment all over the post. In her case, people were like honestly getting what she was trying to do here. She was being sarcastic. And then you go viral. That's the secret sauce, people, just so you know. So when Trump does it, Candace does it, Roseanne does it, your favorite little influencers, sometimes I do it, not to this extent, but sometimes Soonie does it. That's what's happening. And you guys fall for it every time. Every time. Anyways, what do you guys think?
Anyways,
Do you agree with me though?
what?
That like it was what she was doing. She was being sarcastic. She wasn't trying to obviously say the Holocaust didn't happen.
No, I think she was saying it.
I don't think she was, just because I've seen all her other stuff and she's typically not a denier of the Holocaust.
You asked me what I thought. Why are you fighting with me?
Because I'm just saying, I'm a fan of Roseanne.
I don't care. I thought she meant it. It was funny. I'm glad she said it. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Why she call us little though?
Hey, I'm not going to say anything about the Holocaust on here.
No,
I'll
we
save
can't.
it for Instagram and Discord.
We definitely believe the Holocaust happened. We have to say the Holocaust happened. Jews are good. They are not evil.
Thank you. Thank you. There's somebody else in here that, listen, we here.
But she's
We here.
Jewish. Her mother's Jewish.
So that's probably all the more reason that she's just like, I already know what y'all like.
If your mother's Jewish, you're Jewish.
That's another reason there's an issue with that. Why are you taking after your mama? It's supposed to be your daddy.
Because your mother has to be a Jew for you to be a real Jew.
Well, Sounds very feminist. Just saying.
Hmm.
Feminism.
Next. What do we talk about next?
What do we talk about next?
What do we talk about next? What did we say we were going to talk about?
Parkland.
Parkland. Okay, guys. So a lot of people don't know that this trial was even going on. But yesterday the jury acquitted the school resource officer who failed to confront the Parkland gunman. If you guys don't know, the Parkland shooting was that shooting at the high school, and I think 17 kids died. It was like a massacre. They just concluded the trial of the actual gunman who was alive. Batshit crazy. I watched that trial. That trial was wild. Honestly, it's been a very sad time to watch both of these trials, because I think this happened in 2018, and these poor families have been going through all these legal battles since then. And it's been really hard because you have to sit through these trials and listen to the gunshots and listen to their kids screaming in the background for their lives. But Scot Peterson was the school resource officer, and he was found not guilty of child neglect, which is what the charges were. It was also criminal negligence, culpable negligence, and perjury in a rare trial over police interaction in school shootings. Okay. So this happened in Florida. They found this guy not guilty on all charges. I agreed with the verdict, and I'll tell you why I personally agreed with the verdict after watching 5 full days of this trial. Is the state did not present enough evidence to prove that this guy knew where the shots were coming from. Okay. Why that is important is because they brought his the people that developed the training for the school resource officers in regards to school shootings. They brought that person up on the stand, and they specifically went through the training, and the training stated that if you are not sure where the gunshots are coming from, you are not to run towards the gunfire, only if you are sure in a school shooting situation. Okay. If you're the school resource officer, this is specific to school resource officer training. So Mr. Peterson, basically his defense did an excellent job of showing that when these gunshots were happening, Officer Peterson was the first to call in the code red, as he should, stating that there was an active school shooter. Initially, they thought it was actually, I think, fireworks or something like that. The building that the shooting actually occurred in was, I believe it was the 1200 building. There were several buildings. This occurred in the 1200 building. Okay. He stated when he called in to 911 that he could not tell where the shots were coming from. They played the call and you could hear the sound ricocheting off the buildings. Okay. Many of the students who were brought there could not tell you at the time that they knew where the shooter was because it sounded like it was coming from all over the place. Okay. Now looking back in retrospect, and we have the 911 calls from the students that were actually in the building. We have 911 calls from people that were outside, administrators, and blah, 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 blah. You can start to piece together all that stuff, which is how the public views it and probably looks at this ruling as it wasn't the right ruling. But as far as the evidence in this case, they did not prove criminal negligence on this man's part. Did he fail at doing his job? Probably so, to a certain extent. He did not do his job the best he could do, and he knew he didn't do that. He did lose his job. He may have possibly lost his pension as well. But I do not believe he intentionally ran or stayed away from trying to help those children after watching this trial. Soonie disagreed with me.
Yeah, because this is an appeal to emotion.
What do you mean? I was talking about all the facts, not the emotion.
They weren't able to prove that he was negligent. Doesn't mean that he wasn't negligent. They just weren't able to prove it.
Well, that's how
Fine.
court works, though. That's the thing about court.
That's great, but that's not the point I'm making. They weren't able to prove it. It doesn't mean he's innocent. I'm not necessarily happy with the verdict. I think when you purposely stay away, then you should get treated for staying away. We had the same commentary about the Uvalde police officers, and I don't really care that they knew where the shooting was going. They knew and they did nothing about it. You know there's a shooting happening, and you choose to not even go attempt to seek anything out. You have weapons. You have the training to go as far as you can to keep yourself safe without being killed. And it didn't happen. So fine, they weren't able to prove it. That's great. But that doesn't take away from kids being dead and there being a resource officer there.
Of course not. And that was something that was brought up in the trial, that, you know, they didn't think that whether he could have run directly towards the building and knew exactly where the shooter was when they went through the timeline of how things occurred and where he was in relation to when things started. They do not believe he would have been able to make an impact, whether he got in there or not. You know, this is my struggle when people look at things on the internet, in posts, in clips, and then it goes to trial where people watch it and start to hear the facts and the evidence. That is how the justice system works. There is laws, there is facts, and there's evidence, and all those things come into play when it comes down to determining whether somebody should be held responsible and to what degree. If I had a loved one that someday has to face the justice system, I would hope that they would not be convicted on somebody's opinion of what they think happened. I would hope that the facts would come into play and the facts would show how I should be treated under the letter of the law.
I don't understand that.
How so?
People have opinions. That doesn't change the verdict.
But opinions don't matter. You have to prove things in the court. They do
matter when you're talking
public,
about.
Yes, not in the court. Not in the court.
But that's a given. We know public opinion doesn't sway the court.
But that's what we're talking about is the court.
I just simply said they weren't able to prove it. It doesn't mean that he was not actually negligent. They weren't able to prove it with whatever information they had. People get off on shit that they do all the time. Mm-hmm. But because they have a fire defense, they get off. People have been known to kill. And I know you killed that person. They know you killed them. And everyone else around knows you killed them. But they get off. Does that mean they're innocent? No.
Well,
no.
In this particular case, when I was listening to the evidence presented, I definitely agreed that number one, I don't think it would have made a difference if he would have done exactly what people thought he should have done or not. Number two, how he could have located this shooter, I don't know. You know, so Judy's bringing up OJ. I think that's a different situation, a different case, different facts involved. In this particular case, from what I saw, and they did an excellent job of presenting the evidence. Both sides really did a good job, but I will say the defense was solid probably 4 of the 5 days with their case against the state. The state just couldn't prove it. It was basically like, I think the state was arguing the side of the parents, like the desperation that the parents feel that you were there to protect our kids. Like you should have done something. And I get that. They understood that. That's the part that I agree with them, that could he have done more? He probably could have done more. Did he do his job to the letter? Maybe not. But criminal negligence was definitely not proven.
Excuse me.
Can I speak? Like he wants to come on?
Sure.
No, I'm saying this guy. He says, I disagree with your take on affirmative action. Can I speak?
Sure, you can speak.
Should we send him the link? Is he wanting to chime in?
I'll put it in the chat.
I don't know if that's what he's asking.
We're not even talking about affirmative action, though. Where is he in the show?
He's probably delayed in listening to it.
Oh, okay.
Did or did not public opinion sway George Floyd's case? Absolutely. That was another case I watched every day of, and it was crazy to me because that was a case where the evidence was what it was, and I was like, oh, for sure they're going to come down the way they should come down on this case, and they didn't. The jury was afraid of the public backlash if they ruled that the cops were not guilty of killing George Floyd. That was a crazy case. Crazy case.
He said no. I mean, yeah. To me, it doesn't change what I've said. It doesn't prove that the person is innocent. It just proves that the prosecution failed and the defense won. That's what court is. Court is a sport. Half the time they're in there arguing for people who are indeed guilty. So I don't give a shit about the verdict, to be honest with you. Fine, they weren't able to prove it. But I still think that was a piss poor job for a resource officer to do, especially when you're trained and you've been doing this for so long.
But he actually followed his training.
I'm talking about the extra step that cops are supposed to take. That's why you're a cop. You're not supposed to function like the rest of us, or else why the fuck are you here? Why do we have a military? Because they're willing to do things that we're not.
Yeah.
So if we're just going to have a bunch of citizens, then fine, be a citizen.
And I get that. And you know what? There was a lot of military guys that actually weighed in on the case that I saw. And they were like, I have trained with guys that were badass, that were down. Like, you know, they were like, I'm ready to go. And then the time came and the human side of it popped in. And they said, you know, nobody, no matter how much training you have, no matter what you think you're going to do, knows what you're actually going to do when it's time to do it. Nobody knows. You can say, oh, I for sure would do this, but you don't know. They talked about it. They talked about how many police officers, military servicemen have frozen on the battlefield. And that happens. And that's, you know, that's the human aspect and the reality of it, that we as the public, when we're playing the Monday morning quarterback, can say, well, they should have done this and they should have done it like this. It's so easy for us to say, but we haven't been in that position.
What about the cops who are echoing what the citizens are saying? Why are they always ruled out? To highlight the people that are offering excuses as to why they don't perform their job the way they should.
But there's cops that are also critical. There's both sides. I heard both sides.
So why don't we ever talk about that? We only bring up the conversation in which paints these men as, oh, they're human. Like, why? I don't get why we keep doing that in discussions. We know they're human, but they have taken on a position that regular humans haven't. So why don't we hold them to that standard? We always attempt to humanize resource officers, military members, whatever, when they fuck up and they do some crazy shit.
Right.
Why do we do that?
I think we talk about, I mean, I don't know. I can't say overall. I can say I've been in several discussions where both sides are discussed. Both opinions are given. But I, again, as one individual, I do take the human aspect of it into some consideration. In almost every situation I look at, I take some human aspect in. That's just how I'm built. There's some people who could care less because that's how they're built, and they don't take any of that in. They're very like critical thinkers. They only go based on, you know, the black and white of it all. That's just not how I look at it. I look at the human aspect of it because, again, I've said this too many times. I always relate myself. How would I think? How would I feel? So that I can give a real opinion, my opinion, not somebody else's opinion. You know, that's just how I think about it.
Well, I mean, this segues into the next topic. Do criminal records matter?
I think that when it is pertinent to the case, to the situation, it matters. So sometimes it might matter, sometimes it doesn't. We never had anybody really chime in on whether they thought criminal records mattered or not.
They did. They voted.
Oh, I didn't see. What did they say?
You guys vote again. Put it in the chat. Do criminal records matter? When do they matter?
Said was on Court TV talking about the case.
I don't know.
Said, come on the show.
Thank you. Do not swear an oath to protect and serve if you can't do it.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Back to the question. Wait, where'd it go? Do criminal records matter? Yes. We have 2 yeses, 3 yeses.
I want to hear the former cop. Cedric, do the criminal records matter? 4 yeses, 5 yeses. 1 no. No criminal records shouldn't matter because they go all the way back to your birth to condemn you. Joey said, I said yes and no, depends on the crime and how many times they've committed criminal actions. I agree with that. LL Lewis said, oh, he already said no. Lauren Baker said yes. Okay, so the majority of the people that are saying yes to the question, you think they shouldn't matter, right?
To the public? No.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only reason the public uses it is to make the person look less human, or to explain why an officer may or may not have acted a certain way, even if that officer is wrong. Well, there has to be a reason, right? So let's dig into their criminal history to explain why this situation happened, or the family's on TV and they're making him innocent and the media's doing this, and the first thing you do is go grab their criminal record. We're not a part of the solving process. We're not a part of the investigation. So why it matters to us, outside of I'm going to prove the media wrong by trying to make you look like a piece of shit. That's all people are doing.
So this came up in the case of is it Carlisha Hood? So Soonie and I were talking about Carlisha Hood, and I said, hey, did you see that people are posting that now they have found out that the guy that punched her had a criminal record? And I said, well, in this case, I don't get how his criminal record matters right now, right? Because we're not necessarily discussing him, because we saw what he did, he's dead, and we heard some of what he said. What we don't know is her connection to him, what they said, what she said to him, how this whole thing popped off.
We're going to have to pause this for 1 second because
we got the equalizer. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, hi, good evening. How you doing? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I know I came like very, very late. You guys was discussing like 40 minutes ago, but I just want to, if I could speak now, that'd be great though.
Sure, go ahead.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so I pretty much have seen like you guys take on the whole affirmative action issue, and I vehemently disagree with it. I think affirmative action really helped certain minority groups of all races who are not really receiving, who are already being discriminated against in schools towards receiving admission. I think like it helped the general, like people who were being discriminated against based on their race, at least to increase the percentage of them going. So it didn't really solve all issues. It helped out a bit, but it's still gaps and things that affirmative action did not solve. I was looking at the Ivy League schools acceptance rates by race, and Caucasian white Americans were around like I think 60%, Asian Americans around 25%, and then Hispanics and Black people had around like 4% each. I think this measure, and that was also the same thing in terms of the faculty at the universities as well. around like those kind of numbers.
Mhm.
So I think once you have like removing affirmative action now, those numbers, those 4% numbers were already low. But removing the affirmative action now, I feel that is going to make things lower, make that low rate that's shocking, that's even shocking, even lower. And I know like some people are saying about merit that like in this space, college admissions, that everything should just be based on merit, 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 and merit. Um, to a degree, that's understandable. It has its place, but what about in areas that people are not, like people who have that merit are being completely disregarded? With this rate at 4% now, if it comes lower, is there going to be any? Shouldn't there be any changes or programs to help that number increase? Like even now, I'm an African American, so that's like the perspective I notice. I'm really going to speak on. I know to speak on the schools in our community, in the most African American communities. Like most of them are dilapidated, and the few ones that are good in my city is only like 2 or 3 good schools, high schools, and the rest, a lot of them are closing. A lot of them are underfunded and under standard. So there's not really massive, like good enough social funding for those schools to be afloat. It just left to dilapidate. And people who are making this argument that it should just be based on merit, and that's like the main criteria that we're looking at. What are these schools? They shouldn't receive like any incentive. So people should not receive any incentives across the board. I don't think it's right. And even in this case, I heard like certain criteria like gender was not removed. Certain things like alumni status was not removed. Certain things like wealthy people, like people who donate big donations to universities and have in order for their kids to possibly attend, that was not removed. Why is only race being removed? So I think affirmative action really, it didn't solve everything, but it really helped out a lot. I think that those numbers that we see for minorities across the board, I think those numbers gonna go even much lower in the years to come. Thank you.
So I think that's a very surface level understanding of why they would go low. I think that's an easy excuse to say, well, the number's going to drop because now the race isn't on there, and you are kind of openly stating that Black people don't quite measure up and we don't test well, nor do we perform well when it comes to reading, comprehension, literacy, or math. You're already saying it without saying it. So does it really have anything to do with race, or is it because the education system is fucked up?
Yeah. I said like two sides of it. Part of it is that like the people who are like you're saying about like underfunding and like the test scores are not being up to par. I'm not talking about like those people who test scores are not up to par. I'm talking about the people whose scores are up to par and are also applying to these schools. A lot of them have been and are still being denied because of race. I don't and
You have to
like
quantify that. You not even quantify.
How do you know that?
You're stating a negative, so I need you to ground it.
So are you saying that people are like race and like race is not a factor that is like
I'm
people
not
are not
saying that
discriminating?
at all, but you're making a very bold statement saying that these people are being denied because they're Black, despite having the merits or qualifications, and I'm asking you to prove that.
Well, I thought it's like as a general point that everybody can agree to, that people are discriminated against based on
That's an
based on race in the workplace, in school, and in many places.
But you're making an assumption. You can't prove that.
How do you prove that they discriminated against you because you're Black? Like, what did they do?
Okay, so like you're saying that because I'm not pulling up any raw data to show the number of applicants are applying and the number that are like didn't get the position, that I can't make that point.
I mean,
it could be your opinion.
Let's make it anecdotal to you. You are in charge of hiring. You're in charge of recruiting, right?
All right.
And you're a person that's I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you're objective, right? You're going to hire based on what that person has to offer. You're probably not going to be considering race in the hiring process, right?
If it's a situation where the applicants I'm getting, majority of them are in like race, let's say they're white males, and like at the end of the day, I have a 60 or 70% white male admitted into my university, even though like that's like the numbers, I still don't think it's a good look or a good image for the school or the greater society. And
Well,
I
no,
don't think
we're going with this this is a thought experiment. I'm trying to help you understand the opposite side of the argument so that maybe you can understand why I'm asking you to present something. So that's the reason I asked you that is you're in charge of something. You're in charge of the hiring process. You're going to make sure you're hiring or you're recruiting what's best for your company, right? Now, you've done the recruiting process and then something comes out or a lawsuit that says you didn't hire this person because they're black, right? Or let's just leave it this way because you're African American. White people and a string of white people come out and say, I didn't get this job and he overlooked me because I'm white. How do they prove that? What did you do, say, or how did you even give them the assumption or even thought for them to think that you discriminated against me? That's the claim you're making now. You're saying, well, this is discrimination and I'm asking you to prove it, and you're struggling to prove it, just like anybody would be struggling to prove if you didn't hire them because they're white. How do they know that? How do we know that?
Well, yeah, I didn't bring raw data because I thought like it was just like something that's generally agreed upon in society that people are discriminated against by their race. I don't even think that like in general.
You've been taught that.
Sorry?
You've been taught that.
No, so are you saying that people are not discriminated against in the world, like not just in school, in general, based on race?
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It does certainly happen. It does. I will acknowledge that. But I think what Soonie's point is that you're making a statement that if affirmative action doesn't exist, we're going to have disparities in how many Black people are admitted into universities. And it's going to show that the university is racist.
Exactly.
Against Black people. So
instead of taking the discussion further, like it's easy to say, well, this is happening because I'm Black, but we don't want to discuss the nuance of education. You know, our boys read at below proficient level. This is all documented because the schools suck and because teachers come to school to get a check. There's a lot of teachers that don't enjoy being there, and it is simply a check for them to get at the end of the month or every 2 weeks. But we want to have an easy conversation of it's because I'm Black. That's lazy. Maybe you didn't measure up. Maybe the reason that it's 4% or whatever number you gave is because they're only considering race and they're not looking at merit. And that doesn't mean that Blacks are dumb.
Or there could just be other factors, because I don't know if you have gone through the application process for universities, but like I said, you have to write a letter, right? You have to write something stating why you want to go there. You have to show that you're involved in many clubs. So there's a lot of factors aside from grades and just your application that go into admitting you into a university. They want to make sure that you're a good fit for that university. They want to make sure that you're bringing something to the table.
Yeah. I'll agree to that, but another part of what I'm saying is that two more points I have to make. Is one, since if you see like a certain group of your people are not are like they're drastically doing worse in schools. Let's say the school admission that I said was 4%. One, are you saying that creating any programs, like no program should be created, more programs and laws should be created to help increase those numbers? Because by what you're saying, it's like if you're saying that, then and somebody like tries to create laws to help them out, it's like, oh, you can't do that. Why are you looking at their race? Why are you looking at their the demographics? It should just be general for everybody, regardless of economic status, regardless of disadvantage. and all these other things.
Let me ask you a question.
That's basically what I'm.
What law would incentivize people to go to college?
I don't mean just law, but like social, like government program. Let's say,
Why does a government program have to do that? That starts at home. That starts with your parents telling you you can go to school, you can get a trade. What do you want to do? We're relying on the government to educate. That's the problem we're having now, is because we've been so reliant on the government to provide, to educate, and then we get to sit back and be like, well, I didn't know.
But yeah, but they have like I'm talking about the role. Like every sector has a role, but in terms of their role, like are you saying that like people who are in that position should not receive any programs, not just laws, but like programs to help them in their situation they're in? In that kind of
there could be white people in those same situations,
right? So are you saying that because like a certain program is specified to a person of their race or their gender, and different categories like that, it should not exist? Because by doing that, you're discriminating against every other race or every other gender or every other creed, nationality, or religion.
Give me an example of the programs you're talking about. Like financial assistance?
Like, let's say like government funding for schools. Let's say like I use like some African American communities in urban areas where their schools are underfunded, dilapidated, closing. If someone says, I want to create a government official, say, you know what, I'm either from the state or federal level, and says, you know what, I see this problem here. The people have complained to me that this is a problem, and I want to give a grant to the school system, a $50 million grant to help in infrastructure, education, after school programs to help out. Are you saying that should not exist because of they're specifying it to somebody's race?
Well, let me ask you this. This is a proof that doesn't necessarily fix everything, right? Are you
But should you do it?
Are you familiar with Jackson State University in Mississippi, an HBCU?
I believe I've heard of it.
Okay. Do research on them, because they're actually in a lot of hot water, and they are a primarily Black university. They're a HBCU. They're in a lot of hot water for how they mismanaged all those great funds and incentives that you're talking about. Okay. So to me,
so they should have just stopped because of certain things like that. That no programs. That's my general question.
No, they shouldn't stop.
Should they exist?
These programs already exist.
Should they exist?
They already do exist. It's not about what it should be. It's about what it ought to be, and what is. What is these programs already exist. It's a matter of reallocating funds. School districts get a lot of money. Some states get between 20 and 30K per student. Like, they're not broke. They just don't want to allocate funds to where they need to be going.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem with the school district.
Yeah. I think if there's going to be programs, or the ones that you're talking about, I think they should go directly to the person that needs them, not the school, because that's when it goes to the school, it's provided by the government, and then it's mismanaged, right? Nobody's checking where the money's going, or that it's going to the right area. So that's why having less government involvement in things like this is better. So should there be more programs? It'd be nice if they could be directly allocated towards the people that need them, that need the help. Right. So if if they do away with affirmative action, that's fine. They still have these programs in place, whether they're going to the school, but they also have some programs that go to the student. Okay. They haven't done away with those things. So there's still programs to help students in underserved areas, or people that are wanting to go to school in underserved areas, attend these higher education institutions if they so wish to and have the qualifications to get accepted. Creating
another program is more government spending. We don't need more government spending. We need government to spend correctly and responsibly. They need to reallocate funds. They're taking money and stuffing it in their pockets, bro. They don't give a fuck about our kids. That's why they're graduating them at very low rates and requiring so little. You're allowing students to graduate when they can't do math or read. And then forget the merits. Just look at their race. Don't factor nothing else in when you're allowing them into these universities, and then they take out these crazy amounts of money as loans and they can't pay them off, and then we complain about poverty and people living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. At some point, we have to put a stop to it. At some point. So we keep asking for government intervention. How's that helping?
Does it make you feel good as a Black man that a school would accept you solely based on the color of your skin so that they can meet a quota to get their budgetary allocation for the year?
That's such a slap in the face.
Because you know what happens is what they do is they bring kids who don't have the grades into these schools where they're next to kids that do have the grades, right? Black, white, whatever, Asian, whatever. And then these kids who were maybe a 3.8 at the school they came from are now dropping down the GPA because they can't compete with the kids at that school because they didn't deserve to be there in the first place based on their academic GPA. So it doesn't do them any favors. It really doesn't.
This is the year 2019 and 2020 alone. And this is the most recent data available. Spending for public schoolings, K through 12, totaled at $771 billion. Like, what the fuck are you doing with that money, and why do you need more? That's a lot of money going to education already. Why are these students still failing? Unless we're going to have that conversation, complaining about universities, your kid needs to get there first. You need to make sure that they're in a school that's going to help them even get to that level. We worried about discrimination because we got to get there based off merit? No, bro.
Yeah.
Are you in school, or do you have kids that are going to school? Like, why does this particular issue interest you?
Well, because I'm African American, so like any situation that affects African Americans, of course.
Here, let's do this, Mo.
Really?
Let's have him react.
Wait, I'm not
to
saying
this
that
tweet.
I'm only concerned about African American issues and then any other issue in America I don't care about it.
Yeah.
I hope
But you care more about African American issues, what you're saying.
Well, that's what I'm going to be more focused on, and most people tend to be more focused on their demographic issues that relate to their demographic.
So I'm going to pull this up, and I want you to tell me what you think about this tweet.
Okay, today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on Black people. No Black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, you took off the tweet.
Put it back up there.
Can you pull up so I can analyze it? I would agree with the first sentence and the last sentence. The second sentence, I think, is like actually counter. Like it's like that sentence is like part of a problem, because saying that no Black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, I think that's very, very like this. Like she's with that statement, she's going to the same group of people that she's saying that she's attacking, that she's against. So but with the first sentence and the third sentence, I do agree. I think that it's not going to benefit Black African Americans, and I do think it's a travesty that possibly a less percentage of African Americans are going to be accepted to your colleges across the board.
So then that's ultimately you agreeing with her.
I don't agree with the whole statement. I just agree with the first sentence and the third sentence. But her saying about merit, again, I believe that people are African Americans with high scores are applying to some of these colleges. I said Ivy Leagues, and they're just because of race. They're looking at their race and say, you know what, we're gonna like cut down on some of the numbers there. Like even some
Let
Asian
me ask
American.
you something. If they remove race, doesn't that erase the issue of them solely basing their
Focusing.
decision on race?
I don't think they solely base the decision on race. Like, for
But
example,
you just said that these students are being denied on the premise of race. So they're removing race. Isn't this a W?
Let me clarify a little bit. Like, I feel like Ivy Leagues, that's like the stats like I looked at. I feel that like already if African Americans who are applying to Ivy League, some of them are gonna have 36, 35, 34 on the ACT, and they're gonna be some applying that have like 18, 15, 16, 12, just like out of luck. So out of that percentage, I'm not talking about the ones that have like below 34.
I'm not either.
Below, I'm talking about the ones that have 34, 35, 36 applying to these colleges and universities. If you compare,
right, but you're not answering my question. You're doing this. If they remove race from the applications,
yes,
how are these institutions making decisions based on race?
Okay,
because this is your argument. You think it's wrong to remove race because blacks are going to be discriminated against. But if there is no race on there, how can they be discriminated against?
Okay, I'm listening. I'm understanding your question now. Well, I think like we have to look at the end results of like what's going on. Like if this removing affirmative action creates like, you know, more even rates like 20, 25, 25 or 30% here. Like if it doubles it or increases it, then you can say, okay, maybe it worked in certain areas. But if that number, which is already low at 4%, goes lower, at the end of the day, the outcome is showing that we're not really putting enough funds, effort, and focus into those communities to even be able to apply. I don't think children are like not intelligent. I think if you give children the proper education, the proper infrastructure, and some proper incentives in the community, they will have a much better chance of being accepted to these universities. But if you gut that as soon as they enter into the educational system, and then we check the rates of the Ivy Leagues, and they said like 60% white, and everybody should just like go home and go to sleep because of that. I think at the outcome, it's not good. I don't see how that's good at the end of results. So if they remove race and it's still like these numbers or even worse, we still haven't really fixed the problem.
Well, we don't know what the problem is. We are trying to say it's race, but we don't know that it's race.
If anything, doing this will expose more of what the problem might possibly be.
Exactly.
Because you're removing any, like Soonie said, you're removing.
You don't disagree. You came up here because you was in your feels about, I don't like this. You don't disagree.
I disagree.
No, you don't.
No, I think, you know what? No. What's your name? Because I can't call you the equalizer. We're just not going to do that. What's your name?
John.
Okay. John. Okay. I actually like you, John. I think you're a reasonable person. And I think that you can probably understand better if you were a little bit more aware of the intricacies of this, like Soonie was saying.
So
and looking at it a little bit differently, I think you might understand what she's trying to say. Because
did they remove? They didn't remove gender, right? Like gender is still like a factor that's determined in the
but people aren't. That's once again that's moving the goalposts. We're solely focused on this affecting race. If they're removing race, you can't rule out blacks if they're removing race.
So they should have also removed gender as well.
That's moving the goalposts. We're not discussing.
No, I'm asking because if you're going to remove one criteria as a measure,
well, what does that matter?
Remove all of them.
What does it matter when people are identifying with whatever they want to identify anyways? So you're not even getting a fair sampling.
I'm not saying don't identify as whatever you want to identify as. I'm saying that if race should not be a factor when you tick that box for your college admission, submitted your letter of you want it to be accepted, then gender should not be a factor. Well, alumni status should not be a factor. Donating, parents who have big money making big donations to universities to influence whether the probability of their children being accepted to colleges, remove everything. Don't just remove race. Remove everything.
You
And
know,
like, if that, sorry,
you
go ahead.
could do it, but like
Should
I
you?
said, you got to write that statement.
Should
And
you
if
remove
you
the
don't write that
gender?
statement carefully, if you don't write that letter to the college carefully, you're gonna give away all your chips, John. Okay.
Okay, you're good enough for your
Don't
chips.
listen. Yes, I could read a letter and be like, "This is a woman." I could read a letter and be like, "He's black."
You can tell.
You know what I mean? But even like if you're just telling a story, I grew up in this city. This was my life growing up. You could make all these assumptions. Like we're getting crazy.
Should we? Yeah, we should. I guess we should also remove scores while we're at it too, because well, I mean, what? It's discriminated against people who have better scores. I don't think it should be only one factor. Remove all of them.
Let me ask you a question.
Why not? I think they already did it.
A question. If you could have a scenario in which you could hire an all-black staff, would you do it?
Oh, you know, John would be like, the blacker the better.
All black staff.
Black staff.
I think if we do that, if somebody does that, they're still gonna in America. They're still gonna be missing out on talented people who can really help their company. So I would not do that.
Wow.
I would not do it. I would not. I'm serious. It could be somebody. It could be like, I don't know, a white guy that comes to my company and applies, and like he's cool. You hire him. He's cool. He helps the company.
But
everybody
should
likes
I
him.
be able to do this? Should I be able to have an all-black staff?
If the majority of the people who are applying to your organization are black and you hire them, I don't, based on like the job numbers and everything, most people will not look at that as a bad thing. Like, but the unemployment rate for black people is so extremely low. Anybody that does that, I think they'll be going to be receiving some prizes, some keys to the city. If like they hire people, hire a lot of, if they do that. If they do that, I don't think that's going to be like, send them to court, racial discrimination. I don't think they'll do that. Like you have organizations like the NAACP. It's for black people.
But there's
majority.
That work there.
I'm pretty sure if you look there, you're going to see all races
making some people that work there, sir. It's not all black.
I'm not saying. I didn't say that's a bad thing.
But so you think we should be able to have all black organizations then? Yes or no?
Yes. You have all.
You believe in discrimination?
Okay. By that, then let's just say, you know what? Nobody's an American. All of us are humans. You can move anywhere, do anything. Yes. Why not?
Goalpost like a bug.
Why not? Why not?
Just because I have an all-black staff doesn't mean that white people don't get to come shop with me.
Does that so? Does I mean is somebody go to court for that? Like
somebody would if there wasn't.
Should they?
Nope. See, I'm about to catch you because if it was an all-white staff and a black person came there to apply, you would want them to go to court if they denied them.
Yeah, if you look at again, it goes to my point where if some people are like, it's certain people in this country that America really didn't do them right. I'm not gonna in certain things, and they receive. I'm not even talking about African Americans.
Are you a real African American? Are you a real African American?
I am.
Hey.
Okay, so you're from Africa.
Okay.
No, I'm asking you a question. Are you a real African American? Like, are you from Africa?
Yes,
where are you from?
I guess.
Where are you from?
I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Were you born there?
Yes, I was.
You have a little bit of an accent.
You sound foreign.
Yeah.
Yeah. My family, I came from a military family, so like they travel a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what
so then you black. You ain't African American.
Okay, I mean, potatoes, potato. It's still a potato. What do you call it? A potato? What do you call it? A potato?
Hey,
It's
that's
still
what
the
the
same thing.
admission advisor said when they didn't accept you into the school. Potato, potato, John.
They did not.
Potato,
They did
potato.
not.
You shouldn't have
They did
started
not
your
say that.
you shouldn't have
I
started your
wish they
letter
did.
out. You shouldn't have started your letter out with some people just have it a rough life. She's saying he
Hey,
black.
that no, that probably would have worked. That probably works. Probably works.
Oh
Although I
man,
didn't need it.
You're
It probably
funny.
works.
I like you, John.
I think you agree with us.
I don't.
You do because
If
you
you
said
if
hold on, because you legitimately said, "Oh, now I get what you're saying." If they're removing race from the
remove
application and you don't get to move the goalposts and say, well, why don't they remove gender? We're not discussing gender, we're discussing
and
race.
the end
If
result is the
they're
same.
removing it, you don't know the end result.
If
You're
the
making an assumption of what the end result will be. You haven't even given it time. And wait a minute. And before the end has came, you have already prescribed why the end happened. Who tells the story that way?
wasn't it a problem before? I mean, before affirmative action, I mean, it was a
Oh,
problem.
let's go way back into time. We're gonna pull out
It's
slavery and
history.
all that. That's what we're
I'm not.
going. We're going to
I
Jim
think it's
Crow.
like only like 40 years old or something.
See,
Affirmative.
this is what we do. This is what. Listen,
If you check before,
I'm
they were
about to
even
go
worse.
nigga on you because I'm from PA.
Oh no.
You're from
Oh no.
Detroit.
All right.
We ain't
You
too
don't
far
got
from each other.
do what you want. Do what you want.
Listen, bro.
Go ahead.
Niggas is in a cycle. We stuck as a motherfucker.
No debates.
I asked you how we got from A to Z, and you skipped all the letters and was like, fuck it. I just know that Z is at the end. I don't give a shit what's in between. That's what you just told me. You already know what's going to happen before it happened. That's crazy.
I'm already said it before affirmative action. We already had it, so we already seen the effects. We already saw it, and it was even the numbers were even worse. It's
So
the
you
truth.
still think America's racist?
Yes, I think certain parts of America. I think America is racist. It's not as bad as before, but well, it's still extremely bad. Let me not even say that. It's still extremely bad, and like people who
Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
what you're gonna talking about opportunities and all that stuff. It's still discrimination in all those things. Whether it's the job force, banks, bank loans. I mean everything. And let's say that none of those things existed, and like let's say none of those things existed, and the situation is what it is right now. Again, should you not create some programs to help those people in those situations? I don't see how that's discrimination by saying somebody who's not doing so good, you help them out, you help them out, they'll help the people around them out and help the whole country out, boost the economy, boost our image in the world. I don't know if you believe in God, but I think that's what God wants us to do as well.
Have you personally ever been discriminated against because of the color of your skin? And if so, tell us the story.
Directly and or indirectly. Directly. Directly. Yes. I would say yes.
Okay. What was the
Yeah, it was basically I was applying for a job outside of Detroit, all the way in like I think around Minnesota somewhere, a farm job.
Mm-hmm.
And one summer, and when I was through Craigslist, so I pretty much we exchanged contact, and he said, okay, this is my number, call. And I called the guy, and then we got to talking. Everything was going good, but like he just brought up some kind of question towards my race. Like he wanted to know what race I was before like he could hire before he can hire me. That's the kind of questions he's answered. I just like.
And did you know that that's illegal for him to ask you that? And did you say that back to him?
I said a mouthful. I just like I just cut ties. If not, I probably would have done something else, like legally,
I mean,
bring up a suit or something.
So
but
see,
but it does happen. That's a direct question. But like I said, I live in Detroit, and it's just so much things that people are not being helped out here enough. I live in Detroit every day. I'm here. I'm there every day, and people are not being helped out, and just people are just like saying, "Oh, whatever. We live in the suburbs. Whatever. We just drive across the freeway, We travel across the bad parts of Detroit, Highland Park, from Ferndale, and we just drive from Ferndale. As soon as we get to Ferndale, we into the freeway and we're downtown, and nobody cares. And then that's the reality of the situation, and it's not right.
Well, next time you get asked on a job call or interview what your race is, don't go off on people, because you just basically
he was
what
asking.
they thought. Okay, hold on. If somebody asks you that, because I used to be a hiring manager, say that is not a legal question for you to ask me. Can I ask why you're asking?
And then after that, what do I do after that?
Well, then they should tell you why they're asking.
Yeah, but
it's an illegal question. It's an illegal question, so you don't have to answer it. And if they tell you, well, I'm asking because I'd be curious if the guy would have said to you, well, because I just don't hire Black people. Or he could have said to you, well, I have a high Hispanic, population here at my job, and they all speak Spanish. Would you be comfortable there? That could have been what he said too. He still is not in legal right to ask you the question.
All right. So the point that the fact that he even asked me that question, need more be said?
Do what?
Is there really any other need to ask further? Why are you asking me that question? Why, if everything was going good beforehand, and he just say he needs to speak with me and figure out some details, and as soon as we get to that point, he asks that kind of question and he gets the response, and then everything just goes down. His whole mood and everything just changed. I mean, why do I need to? Even if I do ask him that, he could just say, "Oh no, it's not." Throw up one excuse. But the fact that he asked that question, that's the nail in the coffin right there.
Well, you said earlier that you thought it was okay for businesses to be all Black if you wanted it to be. So maybe he was asking because he wanted it to be all one race. You said that was okay, so you shouldn't be insulted by that.
I said that people who, if somebody has an all Black company or majority Black company, let's just say majority Black, all Black, and that's the status of the company, they should not be taking. I don't think in general, most people, nobody will really disagree that those people should be taken to court because of that. And if they do agree to that, well, I would say, okay, if you have a country specific group that you're a part of and you're excluding other people who are not from your country, they can bring up the same argument, but no one does that. And I don't think African Americans would disagree with a French American group being there existing. I don't people don't normally disagree with those kind of things in those kind of situations. Do you? I mean, do they? I don't think so. So I don't think that's racist to have an all Black company. With employment rates.
But is it racist if you have an all white company, an all Hispanic company, an all Asian company? Would that be racist? Why do you even got to think about that? It should be the same answer.
It's a lot of factors, because if it's an all majority, let's say the city is 90% white.
Okay.
In certain towns that are 90% white, and then
John,
yes,
you're sounding a little racist, my friend. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
You actually do sound racist, because you're saying it's different rules for Black people, but if white people, Hispanic people, Asian people want to do it, there's different factors that need to play in. That's what you just said.
Again,
so the same thing that you're not wanting the universities to do, you're doing.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not. I'm saying that if you help out somebody who's not doing so well, it's not bad.
Bruh. That's not what I was talking about, though.
That's in general. That's what I'm saying.
And if you feel like not helping out somebody who's not doing so well because they don't meet the qualifications, is that bad?
A lot of people want to help them out.
And some people don't.
It's not good.
That's not good.
It's not good. They can do it, but it's not good.
John, you getting all the sound effects, man.
Well,
you're getting all the sound effects.
Well,
all right, buddy.
That's how it is.
We appreciated having you on. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. I don't really know most of you guys' topics all the time, but at least thank you for letting me chime in.
We're all over the place, and we're glad you came in. Thank you so much.
Okay, perhaps I'll come again another time. Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I liked him.
Oh, Lord. Bless the Lord. Well, okay, let's finish up. We were going
Girl,
to get into.
I don't even know.
You were going to finish your statement on why it's important to be
criminal record.
inconsistent on when you want to use criminal records. Yeah.
I like how she put that. Why it's okay.
Inconsistent. Yes.
Because sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't. Quite like race. Quite like race. Sometimes your race plays a factor. Sometimes it doesn't. What I was talking about in regards to the Carlisha Hood was
Carlisha Hood.
we still don't know what Carlisha was arguing about with that got her clocked 3 times, right?
No, we don't.
We also don't know if they knew each other or anything like that. Now it's coming out that this guy had a criminal record before of, many charges, blah, 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 blah. I think, Soonie, you've pulled up his Facebook page.
Yeah.
I took a look at it and I didn't hear that full interview that you sent me with the other witness that was there. But I took a look at his Facebook page and I was just like, typical guy from Chicago, hood guy from Chicago, talking about the random shit they talk about. Nothing that stood out to me there. What I'm interested in is, why would a mother, that's the part I care about, why would a mother put her son in danger and tell him to come inside and help her out in a situation? That's why his record doesn't matter to me, unless they say, turns out Carlisha knew this dude, right? And she knew what he was capable of. So she was scared and she told her boy.
Why do you keep trying to connect them? I want to understand that. Why do they have to be connected for the criminal record to matter?
Because
that's what you keep using as a quantifier. Like, you're using that to say, well, they would have to have some sort of connection. Police and civilians have no sort of connection before they interact, but it matters to you. So please make that make some sense.
But that's a different situation. That's why I say it matters in some and doesn't in others. It's a different situation. Because
does this make sense to anybody? Like, I said this yesterday. I'm not fucking crazy. Does this make sense to anybody? Please be honest in the chat. If it makes sense and I'm tripping, tell me.
Y'all, let me just first say this. Soonie was asking me what this has to do with police. The minute the word police came out of my mouth, she's like, but we're not talking about police.
That's not true.
Why do you keep talking about police? No, that's what you said. That's what you said to me.
Tell the whole story. You getting on here and doing what John did and giving a whole surface level.
This is the story. So Soonie just asked me, why does it not matter when police have interactions? She just brought that up. Okay. I told you what I thought about the case. In a police interaction, I'm driving. I'm a police officer. I pull somebody over for speeding or for whatever. I go to them and get their license. I look at their license. I run their license. Oh, comes up that they have a warrant. Comes up that they have ran from police. Comes up, whatever comes up. Now I go in with knowledge about that person.
You're not the police. That's why I don't understand why you keep painting it from this angle.
Because
I'm simply talking about the narrative. I'm simply giving the police as an example of a situation, not for you to give me a play-by-play of what police are doing. I don't care about that.
Then what I'm saying is, in the other situation, Carlisha Hood, the only reason his criminal record would matter to me in that instance is if they knew each other, because then she would know what he was all about, which might explain why they were arguing. I don't know. See, that's the problem, because we don't know. We don't know. We're making a whole lot of assumptions.
Okay.
I don't understand why that's so hard to understand.
It doesn't make any sense.
How does it not make sense that sometimes a person's criminal history will matter and sometimes it doesn't? This guy is dead, unfortunately. So it's not like he's on trial. And we can hear both sides of the story.
And neither are the suspects that are dead due to cops. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
George Floyd?
The people who are
George
dead.
Floyd?
No.
Who dead?
The people who are dead or not on trial, but you still pull their criminal record.
Breonna Taylor, George
You pulled her
Floyd,
criminal record.
dead.
What does that matter?
It-
You just said it doesn't
You just said
matter.
they-
His criminal
you said they
record
don't
doesn't
go on
matter
trial.
because he's dead.
But you
just
said dead
this.
people don't go on trial.
Listen to what I'm saying. You legitimately just told me his criminal record doesn't matter because he's dead. I am now comparing situations in which suspects are dead and their criminal record is still used to explain behavior. This is why you guys say you pull criminal records.
Okay, but my point to saying it doesn't matter because he's dead is I don't get to hear his side of a story because he's dead. Okay, but his criminal record may or may not had something to do with why he was there yelling at Carlisha. I don't know that yet because I don't know why he was yelling at Carlisha. I don't know that. Now, if more detail comes out and they're like, Carlisha used to date old boy Jeremy. Jeremy's the father of the young kid. He used to beat the young kid. Listen, you have to understand. Listen. Have you ever watched a novela? A Spanish novela? Okay.
No.
This is exactly how it goes. The story develops. So in my head, there are so many missing pieces to this.
Why do you need listen? I'm gonna ask it as plain as I can.
If you say to me, why do I need the details?
No, you do not need all that. You don't need no telenovela when it's police and goddamn civilians.
But what I'm trying to say,
no, you don't need drama when it comes to police and civilian.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
I've been working with you for almost 2 years now.
I brought up
Stop
Jacob
the
Blake.
cap.
Jacob Blake was a great example of I was like, I need to know more. And then I found out that he was there raping old girl.
Am I crazy? Everybody needs to vote in the chat.
Absolutely.
Am I crazy?
Absolutely. You get on my freaking nerves when we talk
Am
about this
I
shit.
crazy? This makes no logical sense. No logical sense. And I agree with you on 99% of shit. But this 1%, like,
I think
what?
it's more, no, listen, I think it's more of like a language barrier that you're not understanding what I'm trying to convey to you.
So then resort to condescending remarks. It's a language barrier.
No, it's like maybe I'm not explaining myself how I should. I don't know. But I think, like, in my mind, it makes perfect sense that sometimes those details matter and sometimes they don't. They may matter further on down the line, but I'm a proponent that most of the time the criminal record matters. Most of the time. You should be freaking happy that I said in this case, it doesn't freaking matter. That's what I was like, how is she going to be mad at me right now? She thinks it doesn't matter.
Vote in the chat.
You always get mad that I say it matters. And the one time I say it doesn't matter, you're like, oh, hell no. I swear to God, sometimes you're just trying to argue with me just to argue. You're a perpetual arguer. You like to argue. That's what the problem is. No, we're both speaking English, but the problem is, like, in my head, I am speaking I hate you. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. I don't hate you. If a man was a convicted child molester, shut up. Here's a question: If a
why
man
you taking down where he called you out on your shit,
and he served his time and working at a school where your kids attend regularly, would you be comfortable with that? Soonie, go. Here's a question:
It's
if
not
a
a
man,
question for me, what the
thank
fuck?
you, hypo observer.
You're not making no point because we talk about my children, not somebody online that I don't know.
Okay, so if
yes,
it's personal
naturally,
to you, then it matters?
because I'm going to be reacting, not reacting, but because you might be in my motherfucking vicinity. Yes, I'm going to look things up about you. But that's not even what we're discussing. So you pulled up a moot point. That question has no relevance to what we're discussing. Nice try, Saudi. Come again.
I think it has 100% relevance. Jessica, thank you.
No, it doesn't.
Thank you, Jessica, for the super chat. $9.99.
No,
People like to see us fight. Isn't this sad that
Ain't got
people will
nothing to
pay
do with
us when we
nothing.
argue? Yes. It has
Why
everything.
y'all not voting? There's 34 people here. Did she make a rational, logical argument?
Absolutely.
No.
And this right here made my point.
No, it didn't. You're
Yes, it did.
comparing my life to someone else's story. That makes no sense.
Okay.
That
why?
makes no sense. Why would I not make sure my children are safe?
Okay, fine. Take your children out of it. Why did you post on Instagram his Facebook page? Why does that
Post
matter?
his Facebook page.
Yeah,
I
you
posted,
did. You posted a picture
Go
of his
ahead.
girl bent over in front of his dick on his Facebook page.
That's not his Facebook page. And I thought it was absurd that they had a cutout of him and she was standing in front of it. That's why I posted it.
Why does it matter?
Because I thought it was absurd.
What does it matter to the case? So you just make. So wait. Are you saying that you're
You don't know
bringing
how to
up
debate,
black
please.
degeneracy?
Please,
Didn't you
please,
say
please,
we should
please.
do less of that? We should bring up less black degeneracy because it makes
What
black
are
people
you
look bad
talking
unnecessarily.
about?
I'm bringing up all the points that you make all the time.
What does that have to do with this?
Because you brought it up. One time you were just last week, you said
Oh
Candace
my God,
and Ben
bro.
Shapiro be talking about ratchet black shit all the time instead of talking about good things in the black community. I'm actually, listen, aside from the fact that I could care less that the brother got shot and is dead, because I could care less right now. Okay, he shouldn't have hit a woman. Not to say that justified his death, but you got what you got. You fucked around and you found out, right? I'm just saying, I'm standing up for him and saying, for this instance, in this moment, with what we know, I don't care how ratchet his Facebook page is. I don't care what his criminal record is until I find out more that explains why she did what she did. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Jessica, again. Oh, and you said, Soonie.
Because your arguments make no sense. You're here, there, and everywhere. None of what you said has any relevance. You're comparing Candace Owens judging an entire fucking event and then showcasing why it's bad. That's not even what I did. I just said why. Because I don't get why you got a cutout of a dead man and you're twerking in front of it. Is that an indictment on the black community? No. Nice try. It's an indictment on the people who are standing in the photo.
That are black.
It's an indictment on the people who are in the photo.
That are black.
You're making an argument that I didn't make. Did I make an indictment on the black community, or am I talking about this instance? Is that what Candace did? Since we want to compare apples to oranges, let's go there. Did Candace make an indictment on an entire community or one person in the picture? I'll wait.
All I'm saying is, you say I'm inconsistent.
Why are you not answering my
inconsistent
question?
views
Did
too.
Candace make an indictment on the community or an individual?
Listen,
on the community or an individual?
She has made several statements on the community and individuals.
I have never argued Candace that. For what? I'm asking a simple question when it comes to Juneteenth.
How was it
Did she make
Candace
an
when I
indictment
said yes, she did?
on an entire community?
How was that defending Candace?
On an individual?
How was that defending Candace?
You want to know why? Because you didn't answer my question.
I said she did. I said she did. I said she did. I said Candace has made. I said on top of that, I said she made several.
Is why we can't talk to women.
I said she made several indictments on the community and individuals.
And then you went into immediate defense when I didn't ask you about any of that. I asked you specifically about Juneteenth.
Ask me.
Was it an indictment on the community or the individual?
I just said to you it was a community indictment. And also, she has made.
Why did you bring that part up when I'm not asking about that? I'm specifically asking about
doubling
Juneteenth.
down on the point that you're making. Yes,
no,
yes,
not.
And yes.
You're literally comparing apples and oranges.
No,
you are
Soonie.
using me posting a picture of this
Soonie.
dude, and I'm talking about the individuals in the picture.
Are
to
we
Candace's criticism of Juneteenth? That makes no sense.
Hold up.
I didn't put an indictment on an entire community.
All I'm saying is, let's just forget about the cutout and Candace, okay? All I'm saying is, in this instance, it doesn't matter to me. To me, I will sleep just fine tonight if it does matter or doesn't matter to you. I don't care. I'm telling you my opinion and why it's my opinion. My opinion could be wrong. It could be right. I don't know. All I'm saying is I don't know. And right now, his record doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. In some cases, it matters. In some cases,
that's great.
It doesn't.
But if someone's challenging why, they're just challenging why. And if you can't answer, you can't answer. That's cool.
Did I not answer several times why? Did I not tell you several times why it doesn't matter to me? Did I not say that
because
several
they
times?
don't have a personal connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Like not because
if that
they
doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense to me. That's just it.
Not because they don't have a personal connection, but I can connect why people care in that moment about his criminal history if I find out that they knew each other and she knew that there was a reason to be afraid of this guy, so much so that she told her son to go get a gun. Then, okay, she knew the history. We knew it after the fact. She knew it in the moment because she had history with this guy. She knew him. That's when it matters. To us as the public, I don't think it matters. In the case of this particular situation.
I don't think records matter at all.
She doesn't think they matter at all.
To assassinate people's character because you're mad that the family's on TV doing what the family does, which is speaking highly of their loved one that's dead. I don't think it's anyone's place to pull up someone's criminal record to try to defame someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. It's downright evil. At that point, that's evil.
Mm-hmm. And I know you're probably confused, whoever asked that question, LL Lewis, even more, because you're like, well, wait a minute, isn't that what Mo's saying? Yes, that is what I'm saying. But what I have said in the past in other cases is that the record in that case mattered to that situation. So I'm saying sometimes it does matter and sometimes it doesn't matter. So Soonie is saying I am inconsistent. And my point is you can't be consistent all the time because every situation is different. It calls for different evidence. It calls for different facts. That's just what I think.
4 punches to the head don't equal he should have.
4 punches to the head don't equal he should have a record.
4 punches to the head for a police officer would equal he should have a record. But because of the situation being different, no one cares about the criminal record.
I'm confused about his statement. What do you mean 4 punches to the head don't equal?
He's just saying just because he punched her in the head, it doesn't mean that he has a criminal record.
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't know if he did or didn't. It just came out after the fact. And I was confused as to why it mattered in this situation.
And my point of contention is, why does it matter in any other situation? And her response is, well, because I would need some sort of connection of the stories aligning that they know each other. And I'm calling bullshit. That's just it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling BS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it ever matters. The only reason it doesn't matter is because the family's not on TV calling him an angel. He didn't do nothing. Like that portion, I just wish people would be honest about why we're not coming out and bringing up criminal records. This only comes out when the family or some high-ranking Black civil rights leader comes out and tries to paint this as something racist.
Well, what's interesting is nobody's done that yet. So it's interesting that it's coming out and no civil rights leader is calling this, obviously, because it's Black people.
Because he attacked a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason that people are discussing his criminal record, because they want to pin him as violent, because that makes the mother innocent. It's the only reason they're doing it.
Right. And I'm like, and we talked about this. I don't think she's innocent. I don't have proof because I don't know what happened there, but it's my gut that I don't think she's 100% innocent in this.
Well,
there's more to this story for sure.
Cook County made accusations And now Cook County looks stupid because it looks like they lied and made up a whole scenario of her texting her son. And now there are more people coming out, which is what I asked for, the eyewitness. The eyewitnesses are coming out and they actually corroborate her story. I'm less inclined to believe women, but when multiple people are coming out and saying the same thing, I think it's worth a listen. This is not on the news. And that's the main reason I posted it, is because the media has not, and I'm not painting this lady as innocent. I still think she texted the boy. I still believe what's actually in the documents. I don't understand why an entire county would lie on her. All these people who don't know her are just going to lie and materialize these things that never happened. But when the media refuses to come out and defend her, when they have come out and said that all charges are dropped, and they're not talking about any other parts of the story, I just find that to be weird. Like, what, isn't this like a huge scandal when you really think about it? The way that the family is attacking this, or the way that the family has come out, wouldn't this be a huge scandal when she's saying an entire police department is lying on her?
Yeah.
So why, and this is an honest question to you, because I don't even know if we've ever had this conversation. Why do you think the media is so silent on this? Maybe I should play the clip first and then ask you.
Yeah, play the clip.
Okay. Now this is the lady who did the recording. So the video that we see, this is a lady talking about it.
And you kind of sort of walk us through that night.
So small.
Okay. And I was on my way home with my friends. They wanted to stop. My friend and my cousin, they wanted to stop and get something to eat. So we stopped at the Maxwell on 116th House. When we got out the car and we was proceeding into the restaurant, the young lady and the man was already arguing when I got there. So they was arguing when I got there. She was explaining to him something about the line. He kept on trying to get her to shut up. Like, if you don't shut up, I'm sure my grandma kept on being, aggressive with her. She was never aggressive. Let me get that part straight. Always stay calm and maintain herself. She never got aggressive. So he kept on being, telling her to be quiet, shut up. So she was, I guess her son had walked in at that point. And that's when you guys can hear the video, her telling her son to go to the car. And once she said, go to the car, y'all hear him say, go to the car, say one more thing, I'll meet you on my grandma. And that's when he hit her. And everybody pushed me out the door and my phone fell on the ground where I fell too in my phone. So
Wait. Now, I didn't even know that. So you're saying that the people who panicked pushed you down?
Yeah, it pushed me down. So I broke my phone. So I can't use my phone unless I got my
Stylist.
My stylist.
Oh, you do got Android. You fancy. So basically, you was in there trying to get food. You saw the sister there. What made you record?
I don't know. And I usually don't record. He was so aggressive. He was like, I don't think he was himself that night. I really don't.
I wanted to pause that part because that part triggered.
I would rather say something like, could you calm down, leave her alone? But looking at him, it was nothing I could do with that man. Because he was so angry. I believe if I would have said something, he probably would have attacked me too. So at that point, all I can do was pull out my phone and record.
So
now, I think the eyewitnesses coming out changes the story a bit. Now, it doesn't change the fact that she had been accused of the text messages.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Why did the son come to the door with the gun in his pocket? That's why I can't move past it. Now I want to know what you think, because I've actually been talking about this all week.
But I don't know if I heard her correctly, but did she say when he was yelling at her and you hear her talk, that's her telling her son to go back in the car?
Yes.
I would want to hear that again to see if I can make that out. But
you want to hear it again?
Yeah. Do you have it to pull up?
Sure. It's
and like put it up super loud.
I'll put it I'll put it in our chat really quick. Can you just talk so we don't have
yeah. You know, there's just something that just doesn't sit right with me with this whole story. And I agree with you. And we talked about this, that statement in the police report is sworn under oath, penalty or perjury.
Yeah.
So how you gonna, that's such an important detail, okay, about the text messages. How are you going to put that in the police report? And now you're saying that didn't happen. And there's nothing about you telling this boy, go back in the car. That part wasn't put in there at all.
It's weird, isn't it?
Something is weird, and I don't know what. I don't know.
And if people don't know, I'm going to pull up the court document. We talked about this Tuesday, right? Damn, I feel like we just did a show.
We did Tuesday.
We talked about this Tuesday. I'm waiting for it to come through. I don't know why it's taking so long. To where the ASA who was on the case was reading it at a press conference. I had never saw this, but I had watched her press conference and everything she was reading as far as the details of what went on that day. And I was so confused. So I'm like, if you're dropping all the charges, and that either means that y'all lied or there's like some form of corruption. It's just weird, because why would a simple video of her being punched 3 times drop everything? That part just doesn't quite make sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the whole reason why she's suing the police department is because they fucked up in the I don't know, in the initial investigation. And now,
right,
I don't
but
know.
she's not even claiming that in her lawsuit, from what I heard. When
I
she
didn't
was
read that.
sitting with her lawyer, she just simply said it was for mental anguish, like emotional things, emotional distress was what was stated.
I'd be interested to hear it, to see it in detail, to read every line of it.
I have a little snippet of it. I don't have the whole thing. So let me pull this video up so that you can hear it.
Was already arguing when I got there. So it was arguing when I got there. She was explaining to him something about the line. He kept on trying to get her to shut up. Like, if you don't shut up, I'm on my grandma kept on being, aggressive with her. She was never aggressive. Let me get that part straight. Always stay calm and maintain herself. She never got aggressive. So he kept on being, telling her to be quiet, shut up. So she was, I guess her son had walked in at that point. And that's when you guys can hear the video, her telling her son to go to the car. And once she said, go to the car, y'all hear him say, go to the car, say one more thing, I'll meet you on my grandma. And that's when he hit her. And everybody pushed me out the door and my phone fell.
Doesn't that change? To me, that changes a lot.
It does change. Yeah. It does change a lot. What I was wanting to see.
I'm sorry, did I not show it?
No, what I wanted to see was the actual video of the audio of them fighting in the store. Let me see.
Don't have that in our chat.
No, this is a video from your page?
Are you sure?
So that's them in
I
there.
got you. It's right here. Oh, wait, hold on. This changes everything. And this is another reason why I really like our show, is because we are actually objective.
See, look how he comes in, waits at the door, and he's got his hand on the gun.
Yeah.
Like he's ready to pull it out.
I don't know, man. I think the video from the store was edited down. a lot. I was thinking that too, because there's this YouTuber named Martin Lewis who actually had all these clips that I was able to piece together what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he clips it is these things are happening simultaneously. Like the guy and the girl are arguing back and forth. And it seems like maybe the son noticed something, so he comes to the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then the punching happens, and right before the punching happens is when the son comes up, and this is a timeline that he put together, by the way. it's like he sees it and he doesn't know how to react, and then he shoots. So it makes it look very condensed. It makes it look like it happened in a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But it still begs the question of why these court documents exist, saying that she was pointing and waving for him to come from the car. Like, that's in a court document. I'm going to pull this up. I'm so sorry it's not sending.
No, pull it up. But the other thing is, again, I bring this up. Why did it take 3 days for them to turn themselves into the police?
Did it actually take them 3 days?
Yeah. That was,
okay, I wasn't sure.
I wish I could pull it up, but I read it. I read it from.
Was it in an article?
It was like a timeline, yeah, of like how it happened. Yeah.
Look, so I know it's a little blurry, y'all, but this is a court document. This is what was read during the press conference when ASA and McCord Rogers came out. Now, they have literally painted a target on this lady's back, just to give a little context to this this entire thing. They've painted a target on her back because they're accusing her of lying and falsifying shit that never happened. So this is a part that has me and Mo just in a conundrum. While waiting in line to order food, D and V, and that stands for defendant and victim, got into a verbal altercation during which D began texting the co-defendant and pointing to him outside. During the verbal altercation, witness one was laughing and encouraging victim, which was the woman who was there, also involved in this conflict. Co-defendant entered Maxwell's, stood in the doorway. The argument between V and D turned physical when V punched D in the head 3 times. After the first punch, the co-defendant took out the firearm while V continued to punch D. What is a lie in here? Because in order for them to drop every single charge, and I looked at a whole bunch of legal analysts that day, something would imply, this would imply that they lied somewhere. So where's the lie?
When you say they lied, they being
prosecution, police, because the police are the people there taking stories. They're the ones that are writing down what's actually going on. Right?
Right.
So who lied?
And that statement that you just read came from Carlisha, or what is that statement? That statement is from
this is for the charge of contributing to a delinquency of a minor, and as it says, ASA and McCord Rogers.
Okay.
And it goes through a timeline of what happened. So this would have to be,
they documented it.
This would have to be the police report. And they would also have to be factoring in surveillance because this document also talks about the fact that he chased him down. It's right here at the bottom. I'll show this too, just so people can see. People got mad at me because they're like, the family said that's not true. I understand the family is going to come out and defend the person. That's what they do. But that doesn't matter at the end of the day. After the first punch, co-defendant took out the firearm while victim continued to punch defendant. Co-defendant fired a shot at victim inside Maxwell's, striking the victim in the back. The victim fled out of the restaurant away from the offenders. Doesn't that change the self-defense aspect of this?
Yeah.
Even if he felt his mom was in trouble. Okay. He ran away from them. And as the victim fled, the co-defendant followed him and fired additional shots. How are they not in jail?
Right. Yeah. I mean, at
what
the very
was a lie?
Right. Exactly. At the very least, for the part where they left the scene.
I don't get it, y'all.
Not one charge. It sounds weird. It really does. I don't know.
And then the nerve of her to go try to sue when this is them getting it right according to your story because you're innocent. So who has it out for you? Who is this lady? Why would a police department just make up stuff? Like, why would those? I don't know, dude. This just seems like an indictment on police and on all these investigators in this particular case, and it's just weird. It's just weird.
I'm telling you, it's a fucking novella. That's what I just said.
Oh, God.
It's a fucking novella. This is why this piques my
everybody.
interest.
we argue, but it's never personal. Just because
No.
everybody's like, okay, girls, calm down. I'm like, bro, we do this all the time.
Somebody said that?
Judy was like, all right, relax now.
Oh, it's okay, Judy.
Listen, don't believe anything I said here. Go fact check. You can go pull these things up just like I did.
Dude,
go read
no.
this shit.
Go listen to like analysts, like Soonie was saying, because I know people want mine to mow. Like, because that's what I do is and that almost confuses me even more sometimes because people weigh in so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with this story is it's just like hypothetical because nobody really knows, because now they're saying that this fucking police report isn't what actually happened. So now I'm like, well, what are we talking about then? I don't know.
Like, people keep saying she did not text her son. I'm like, so then why did they say she texted her son?
Yeah.
You guys ready for Mind of Mo? I'm actually interested.
Cam me down and just talk while I get ready.
Cam you down, okay.
To transform.
I'm scared. I'm scared, Joel. After the show, just so you guys know what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to have some salad. I might swim. I'm going to get a little blacker, try to get a little more darker this summer. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm looking at Tina Turner. Get ready in the background. No, you look like Beyonce from what's that movie where she kind of plays Diana Ross in a sense? Dream Girls. She back here with the Dream Girl wig on. That's exactly what it looks like. It's the mama and me. Judy, we didn't play your song. I gotta play your song, Judy.
Big Judy, big booty Judy. What? Big Judy, big booty Judy. Big booty, big Judy, big booty Judy. Stop. I wanna see you move it. Yeah. Big booty Judy. Big booty Judy. Got big booty Judy. That's big booty Judy. Got big booty Judy. That's big booty Judy. Got big booty Judy. That's big booty Judy.
He said, oh my gosh, no. What's up, Judy? Well, guys, without further ado.
And now it's time for Random Thoughts with Mo.
What up, guys? Okay, so I don't think Soonie can see that my wig is actually purple.
Oh gosh.
I'm
I'm
for the streets.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
I'm for the streets tonight. You guys like my wig?
I'm for the streets. Ooh.
I'm for the streets tonight. I got my purple wig on. Nah, I just, you know what? One of my wigs was looking a little raggedy and I wasn't like I have this bun, right? So like I had to have a wig that could carry the bun. So you know how it goes. Anyways, guys, welcome to I actually have a lot of Mind to Mo tonight. And I might just have to save them because y'all are so thirsty for Mind to Mo that I probably should hold some of these back and then, so I can give you more consistent Mind to Mo. All right. So here is the first one. Have you guys ever thought about the fact that taxes, okay, are merely just a yearly subscription to the country that you live in, and that your childhood was the free trial? Have you guys thought about that?
Am I answering this? Because I never know. No.
Think about that. When you pay taxes, you're paying a subscription to the country you live in.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, I don't.
And before you pay taxes, you're a child.
Right, but what are you getting a free trial of? You're not experiencing life as a kid.
Oh, wait, hold on. What are you getting a free trial of?
Yeah, like you're not experiencing life as a kid.
I mean,
you don't know that you're saving.
Yeah, but it's like you're training. You're training for life, but in the meanwhile, you don't have to pay for it. It's free. Free 99. Anyways. Okay. Let's just see. Oh, this one was good. Okay. So you see how like your fingers, they're like all the same. I mean, sorry, all different, lengths.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that when you turn them around and you go like this, they're magically all the same length? How is that possible?
They're not all the same length though.
But they really are though. Like look how different they are right here. And then you go like this. Like you can even them out is what I'm saying. But how is that possible?
Because they're bent. They're folded. You can make anything equal when you fold it.
But how are my knuckles all in line too? What?
Because it's a bone. The fuck?
Okay, we're gonna get a little bit crazy here. Okay.
Oh God, I'm scared.
Why do your fingers have fingertips, but your toes don't have toe tips? However, you can tiptoe, but not tip finger. Who came up with this shit?
I don't know.
The next one's really gonna blow your mind.
Okay.
Okay. Pay attention now, because you might lose me.
Okay.
Are oranges named oranges because oranges are orange? Or is orange named orange because oranges are orange?
Oranges are orange. So that's why they're called oranges. Because the color came first.
How did we talked about this on another Mind About? How do you know the color came first?
I'm just making an educated assumption.
Oh, you make assumptions now.
Duh. You can make educated assumptions. That's what police officers do.
You know what? I feel like I need to run these by your kids before I actually take them on the air, because your kids have a really good way of making me feel stupid. Have you ever heard of the Ella melons?
No.
Okay. Well, when I was eating watermelon, okay, I was like, why do they call it watermelon? Like the other melons don't have, like, where did cantaloupe come from? It's like somebody was like, oh, let's name this watermelon and let's name this fucking cantaloupe. Like for what? Like, why did you deviate from the plan? Right. So I was like, okay, we have watermelons. Why don't we have fire melons, earth melons, air melons to make them the Ella melons? Who the fuck came up with the melon names? Cantaloupe, watermelon.
I don't know.
I know how you guys love facts about fruits and vegetables, because you guys like to make me lose my mind when you tell me shit is like fake and it's, what did you call it? Man-made
GMO.
Anyways, let me think. Do I have any more?
You just said you had a bunch.
I do have a bunch, but I don't want to give them all away. Does a straw have one hole or two?
One.
Does it?
Yes. It's one big hole. Just because there's another side of it doesn't mean there's an extra hole. That's one hole.
Is it?
Yeah. Would you say there's two tunnels?
I feel like there's two holes. There's two holes, one tunnel. That sounds like a porno movie. 2 holes, 1 tunnel. That sounds like a gay flick. 2 holes, 1 tunnel. What do you guys think?
Like this, bro? Why are you
2
like
holes?
this?
2 holes? What is this? Oh.
Why is she like this, dude?
Save some for Tuesday. Okay.
Ew, man.
Red Bull says 1 hole. 2 holes? I think it's 2 holes.
It's 1. How is it 2 holes? There's not 2 holes there.
Because I think it's a tunnel with 2 holes, like 2 entrances. Like if I said, is there 1 entrance or 2 entrances? There's 2. There's 2 ways to get into the tunnel.
But you can get in and out of a door 2 ways. It's still 1 door.
That was what my question was when we talked about stairways.
Another one.
When we talked about stairways, remember when we were talking about walking up or down stairways? Which direction are you walking?
Yeah. Two
Same
ends,
thing.
I guess. Bro, you ain't got two ends of a door. You have two sides of a door, but it's still one door.
But what about when they take a door and they split it in half and one side's in and one side's out? You know what I mean?
I like your mind of Mo. This is the
Dude.
best part of the show.
You know what's really crazy? So, like, you know, when you're a little baby and your parents pick you up, think back to the day that your mom picked you up and put you down for the very last time.
I don't remember.
Because there was a day where all of us were picked up and put down for the very last time by our parents, by our mom or dad or whoever. Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
Like, there's no spot in the baby book for that. Like, the day you were picked up for the last time. Because you started walking, you know what I mean? Like, or
Who
whatever.
thinks about that though? Like,
I don't know. Mo thinks about that.
You're such a feelings person.
See, I feel like this Mind of Mo wasn't as great as the others.
It's funny.
It's funny, but you see, this is the problem. Like, you guys want Mind of Mo. It's not always going to be funny. Sometimes it's just going to be thought provoking.
What?
No,
Emotional damage.
Dude, where did you come up with this?
I have a soundboard.
You guys can just watch me dethrone myself or derobe myself from the Mind of Mo. Do we like this wig?
Damage.
Should I just keep this on?
If you want.
I'll just keep this on the whole show.
If you won't. How did you guys like this show tonight? Did you like all the arguing we did?
Obviously, we got paid some super chats for it.
We did get paid some super chats for running our mouths.
We got to fight more often.
Running my mouth.
Candace
What?
posted a video about Steven Crowder, another live from Steven Crowder Exposed. Should we watch it? It's only 5 minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
Jesus, take
let's
the
have-
wheel.
Let's have a live reaction. I don't know what this is about.
Take the wheel.
Okay. I should have a Candace wig.
There's been an update in the New York Post today regarding Steven Crowder and his divorce. Now, why are we talking about this today? Well, I'll refresh your memory. First and foremost, when he did an announcement about his divorce, bizarrely, he included a clip of me and heavily implied that I extorted him somehow behind the scenes. It never happened. I've never even met Steven Crowder. I've only ever done one thing ever, and I was required to contractually with the Daily Wire.
Can you pause it real quick?
A few weeks before he tried to throw the entire Daily Wire.
Yeah.
You know what? Wasn't she just complaining about him being in her DMs? Candace, bro.
Oh, here
I
we go.
don't even know Steven Crowder. You was just talking about him being in your DMs, sis. You was just talking about y'all praying, and we were all friends, and now you don't know him? Candace!
Okay, let's play it. We got to get through this. I'm dying to know.
Why you're under the bus because, well, you wanted money. That's the truth, right? So anyways, it's the reason why I have been interested in this case. And then, of course, came even further lies, which I knew were lies at the time. He responded to a video in which his followers believe that I was responsible for leaking a video. I had nothing to do with his divorce then. I have nothing to do with his divorce now. I never conspired with any journalists to release a video that I didn't know existed. I covered the video like everybody else did that day because it was astonishing and it was trending worldwide. And I cover the news, whether it's celebrity news sometimes, whether it's Kim Kardashian at a wedding. I cover the news when the news is interesting. And this, of course, is interesting because you have a person that purports to be a conservative who looks very much to me to be abusing his wife. So in response to these abuse claims, Steven Crowder then said that he wanted everything opened up to the public. And here we are today. Let me remind you of what Steven Crowder said when he made that demand for the truth to be revealed, because we were all seeing an quote unquote edited clip that was depicting him wrongly. Take a listen.
So today, I have filed a motion to officially unseal all files as they relate to the matter of legal record, finances, relevant medical records, including mental health history or evaluations,
liar.
depositions,
Just lied.
and any
Just
motions
lies.
or sanctions from the courts of Texas. I will not be leaking private marital information to the press, but if the privacy agreements are not respected by all parties, I will address all that is a matter of irrefutable legal record in full context next week.
Tuesday's about to be
He never
lit.
did that because he just says stuff and it's not true and nobody fact checks him. And a lot of his followers just simply believe everything he says. Candace must have leaked this. She must have extorted him privately behind the scenes. Completely and utterly made up. This is sociopathic behavior. You can't just make up lies like this. Well, it also turns out that he lied in the effort to release all the documents. And when he showed up for court, he tried to get everything locked down. In fact, it is his wife, it turns out, that is fighting for more exposure. It is his wife that is fighting for more sunlight, which is, in fact, the best disinfectant. According to the New York Post, Hillary testified that her soon-to-be ex-husband has rage issues and punches holes in the wall, while Crowder asked for full custody of his children, claiming that Hillary exhibited erratic behavior. Now, you remember at the time, he also posted something heavily implying that she had mental health issues. And again, she has no platform. She has no social media profiles. So people just accepted this. They said, wait until stuff comes out. Then we're going to find out that actually he's been under duress and his wife is crazy. Well, then he gave an example of her erratic behavior. As an example of her erratic behavior, he alleged that Hillary had not informed him that their home address had been posted on Twitter for several months. And he accused her family of leaking the viral ring footage of him berating her while she was pregnant. His attorney noted that she has no public social media presence. So her erratic behavior is the fact that she didn't inform him that there was a tweet that she did not author that was on the web that had their home address on it. That sounds like a really erratic, crazy woman. Now, his demand for the custody of one-year-old twins.
Did you want to say something?
Dishonest though, because just you're reading what the news is reporting. How do you know the news didn't pull what they wanted to pull from it? Like, if we can't read it ourselves, how do we? I don't know. Like, but let's just finish it. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud.
Okay.
Raised eyebrows among former staffers of his media company who said that it clashed with his very public expressed conservative beliefs that children need both parents and that the mothers are primary caregivers. Well, the update to that, Hillary testified that he was not present during her IVF treatments. He was also absent during the birth of his children because he had that elective surgery that we spoke about in the past. And she said that he moved out of the family home before the twins were even born. A former staffer says that he is a hypocrite, pointing to a number of his tweets and his public statements regarding parenting. His public staffer also brought up this important point. They said, quote, of course, if you file for custody, you'd think that you would lead with stories of outrageous behavior like drunken binges or child abuse. No, none of that. Something more than her not telling someone about a leak on Twitter when she says that she doesn't even have a Twitter account. It's punitive and it feels like a threat to make her scared. I do believe that she is operating under duress. The judge fortunately came back and said that he is not going to change the custody agreement and that he is dismayed by the number of volumes of motions that have been filed. So there you have it. It looks like this case is still going to remain public, which is what he initially called for, even though he then asked the judge to lock everything down because what he says in public and what he does in private are two different things. For whatever reason, there are people that have not pieced this together, that you have public staffers, former friends, now his wife, all telling you that this man is a sociopathic liar. But, I guess there must be some big conspiracy. We all must be working together behind the scenes. Candace must be working with the family and journalists and public staffers that I've never met who are saying that they're scared to speak out because they've signed very vindictive NDAs with him. Like I said, my grandfather always used to say that people tell you who they are early on. Listen, there just could not be more proof that he lies and lies and lies and then tries to go behind the scenes and correct it. I will continue to pray for his wife, Hillary Crowder, because this situation makes me extremely uncomfortable. And I feel great because I know people are going to say, you shouldn't get involved in somebody's divorce. You know what you should not do? Involve somebody in your divorce.
I don't understand what the purpose of that was.
When did he involve her in a divorce?
Well,
didn't he just make a comment about her saying she leaked it? That's not necessarily involving her in the divorce. That's just saying, I think you put this information out, and now it's like she's using that as an excuse to, well, you put me in it, so now I'm going to talk about it. But he didn't put you in it, though.
But if you don't want to be in it, then just stop talking about it.
I agree with that too. That's pretty simple.
It's pretty simple. Now, your comment earlier, I was confused about.
Yeah.
Because I was reading the New York Post article that stated that.
So here's what I was saying, right? When we are reading news articles, and I'm asking you and I, are we both under the assumption that we're not getting the full story?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Okay.
And all you have to do is read 3 different articles to see that they all have different information.
Okay. So when she's reading the article, and I'm sure we do this too, so this is probably a moment where I'm going to be checking myself. But when you're reading the article, in my opinion, watching the video, she's using what the article says, which is very limited, to say that he's lying. What is he lying about? Because she never quite said what he's lying about.
I understood that what she meant is that when he said in that video clip, I'm going to be asking them to unseal the records. And then in this article, it says Crowder's attorney also asked the judge to seal the courtroom, saying it was for the benefit of the pair's nearly 2-year-old twins.
So here's my question. Did he say that before or after this whole thing happened? Because I think that changes.
Say
I
what?
think that let's keep this private. I don't want this public. I think whether he said it before or after completely changes everything. Now, what if he started out, and this is me giving Stephen grace, what if he started out saying, no, I want this private. I don't want to talk about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the video comes out and he's like, fuck it. Fine, let's make this public. What if that's what happened?
I think he has a right to change his mind either way.
But does that make him a liar necessarily?
No, I think, like I just said, that I don't think that's a liar. That means that you had a change of heart, which I actually agree with if this is a change of heart. I think they should keep it completely private. I think it's nasty. I don't really care, right? I think he made the right decision. He probably got counseled and they were like, listen, people are talking about this. This is not what you want. Probably in the heat of the moment of that video coming out, he was like, fucking gloves are off. You know what I mean? Like,
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And you have a right to go back and forth. He may be in 6 weeks, be like, I want to talk about this all over again. I'm going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
It's his marriage. It's his life.
I don't know. This just comes off as like Mean Girl. Like, I'm just going to talk about it just to talk about it.
I was going to say, but her now going, I'm going to call him out and call him a liar and now, you're making it unnecessarily ugly. So what? He changed his mind. So what? You know, but this is what comes of making your personal business public, which I'm sure he's now probably regretting part of it. I mean, obviously he said the video was released by her family, which I'm like, wow.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think it's far-fetched for the family to put that out. We're talking about someone who is in the entertainment, the political world. It's still entertainment over here. This is the entertainment industry. Let's keep it real. If we're at odds with our spouses, our families are getting petty. They're getting petty, bro. Anybody who denies this is lying. I wouldn't be shocked if her family did put it out, because maybe Hillary is saying, I just want this to be done. And they're like, no, people need to know who this guy is. Send. It's not like a far-fetched idea or concept. What bothers me is it's how intentional she is about making him a monster and just removing her normal way of discussing things, which is nuance, which is okay, well, why are these things happening? Okay, let's piece this together. It's just like she's looking for reasons not to like him, and then she's looking for reasons to make you not like him. That's what it comes off to me.
The other interesting thing is this article states he wants full custody of his twins, which I find quite interesting, because that's a feat. You know, he's not a dumb guy, and he probably knows that it's a feat for a father to get full custody of the children, no matter what what the situation is, because it's never in the best interest of the children to take them away from their mother unless she's batshit crazy. And he can prove it, because he would have to prove it to get full custody. You can't just be like, I have full custody. That doesn't work that way. So he must have some information.
I agree.
Yeah.
Hey. I don't know. This seems like a hit piece. I'm a Steven Crowder. I'm not a fan. I won't say that. My husband watches him. I like some stuff that he says. You know, I agree with the majority of things that he says. But I just don't like the attacking of men because of emotional women. Like, that video coming out was disgusting to me.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. The way they handled Daily Wire measures. We debated this.
Yeah.
I've been consistent since the beginning. I don't think there was anything wrong with what he did. And because of how loosely these people use the word friend, I think they trumped it up and made it more than what it really was. Maybe he just didn't trust Buddy. Like, why can't it just be that? And like, bro, no, I don't trust you, so I recorded you, period. Like, what's the big deal?
I mean, you know what's funny is like I was actually watching something recently on that situation, and I realized, whoa, like Steven Crowder didn't mention the Daily Wire. Now, granted, people were speculating, you know, who it was, but they came out and outed themselves in that.
They did.
Right? I think like now looking back, I think that they're both right. I don't think either one is wrong. I think they're both right. They have points on both sides. I understand why they would want to write the contract the way they did, and I understand why he feels the way he did. So there's no winners or losers in that situation. I think they both have points. In regards to this situation, it's for me, it's very cut and dry. I don't believe in making family matters public at all. Yeah. And I understand that he's a celebrity and people know him and they're going to find out eventually. And then he feels like he needs to clarify things so that there aren't lies getting out there. But I don't know, man. Like I don't like that Candace keeps perpetuating, because she has a large platform and she knows she has a large platform. So it's like, you're making it a big deal. Think about the kids. Think about the kids. If you were ever in that, God forbid, you and George got a divorce, you would hate for your children to see that play out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
At some point, it's time to just stop being super childish about all of it and just be mature. It is what it is. This is happening because they're upset. They're upset Steven came out and said something about the Daily Wire. Why can't they just be honest about that? I would be upset. I would be upset if somebody came out against Mo. Yes, I'm upset. I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm upset that they came out and tried to paint her as something that she wasn't. I would express that I'm talking about this because I'm upset. It bothers me. And I don't like how they're approaching this situation. But to make this like self-righteous claim of exposing all these bad actors in the conservative movement, I don't rock with that, because y'all are still, and I'm going to bring it back to Pride Month. Thank God this is the last day, but y'all rock with LGBTQ members. You're talking about his true conservative values. Where are yours?
Yeah.
Where are yours? That's all I got to say on this.
Yeah.
It's inconsistent as a mug.
Not everything needs to be a story. That's all I'm saying. You know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I know that they're not friends, but in a sense, like, they're all part of the same community. So there has to be kind of like a line drawn there, right? Like, I may not like you, but, you know, we're all part of the same community. Like, I'm not going to make your life tragedy a story on my show.
Right.
It's kind of desperate. You're Candace. Like, you can find other things to talk about.
Right. Talk about politics, bro. Talk about RFK.
Talk about black people. Talk about talk about ratchet black people. That's her favorite.
Anyways, like talk about black people.
No, you love talking about black people. Anyways, She'll probably be like, see, I talk about white people and their degeneracy.
She put up a video. I'm gonna send it to you. It says
already
you
saw
saw it.
I
was
saw
like,
it.
girl, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Anyways, guys, Sooney's got to go. We've been on for
almost been for 3 hours.
Almost for 3. This is probably our longest show to date.
Facts.
My
I gotta
throat
get
is
to the
dry.
beach. I gotta go to the beach, y'all. Thanks for watching us. Please make sure if you're new here, you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss another live. I don't have time to put up the donate. We'll do that on Tuesday.
That's fine.
And Tuesday's going to be a fun show. I'm looking forward to Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
You got
We'll
anything
probably
else
have
before
more
we close out?
information. No, we don't have anything else. I won't stay in afterwards. You could just text me. I know you got to
Peace.
go. All right. Bye guys. Love you. Happy Friday. Good weekend.
They say that something's so offensive, but only if you get offended. I can't offend you without your permission, and you don't even have to listen. They say that something's so offensive, but only